Hello everyone and welcome back to a Wednesday night stream where we're going to be playing some more Foundry. Ooh, that's a very loud spaceship landing right behind me. So, hello everyone, welcome to the stream. Right, and to Plague stream number 2 of the week, because yes, my cold is still lingering around, but it's definitely improving, so maybe I'll be back to normal fairly soon. Hopefully will, anyway. Hello Board Easy, welcome. So, and regular as well, hello. So, what's going on in Foundry? Ah, yes, between streams I did a couple of little tasks, as I think I said I was going to do. Blimey, this is a tall tower of stuff. So, let's have a quick run through the couple of modifications I've made between streams, because it's always good to sort of confess to these things. So I finished off running the second pipe from the oil consumption area in my petrochem tangle in the middle here. It runs up to here and then across all the way along this massive tunnel, past the iron area, and then you can see this, we've got 2 pipes now coming through here. So there's now, a second one running all the way along here, and then the first one comes out and goes to these 2 Olumite patches. The second one comes out and goes over to this one over here. So we've now got, as I say, we've got 2 pipes bringing the oil over, because it turned out we're using slightly more oil than would fit into a single pipe, which I feel is quite an achievement. That is a long way down. So let's go over there and have a quick look and see how they're getting on. If I can get through the gaps here, and I just about can. Excellent. Right, so the secondary pipe comes out here. The primary pipe still pops up above ground and goes off to a slightly different area where it goes into the factory. So they don't follow each other all the way along, but they do for most of the distance. I think the second pipe goes upwards. Yeah, here we go. So the reason I've come down here is to see how the pipes are getting on. So if we poke this one, we can see that this one is at a 49% capacity, which is a reasonable amount, I guess. This one is at 56% capacity. And so you can see if we add those 2 numbers up together, you get more than 100%. And that is why the factory was struggling before. So now that we have double the capacity available, because I've simply literally run a second pipe all the way down here with its own set of pumps and all of that. It's now a completely separate pipe running down here. There's twice the throughput available, and we should be able to get twice as much oil through. So let's get back above ground and carry on and try and remember what the other thing I've done. Excuse me, was. Oh yes, the other thing is that I've significantly increased the amount of solar panels we've got set up as well, because power has been a bit of an issue, because I've been going in and moduling all kinds of things and just generally using a lot more electricity. So I have expanded the solar field quite a bit. So this line that runs all the way down here, that was my first chunk of solar, I guess. The first lot I built out. Then I made it a bit wider and out to about here, so half of this block basically, and extended it to about, I don't know, somewhere maybe around here, I'm not quite sure. But then between streams I've got a little bit carried away and just massively increased the whole lot. So we should have an enormous amount of power available. Thank you, Regular, much appreciated. I shall attempt to actually, mute the microphone before I sneeze next time. I tried to be good about that, but it sort of caught me by surprise a bit. I'm going to blame the illness. So if we take a look at the grid stats, we can now see that we aren't generating any power from the solar panels at the moment. Actually, we are still using the steam turbines. So even with this massive increase, we still don't have enough power to be just running off the batteries, which is horrifying and quite impressive. That said, the steam turbines are producing about 10% of the total power that we're using at the moment. Almost exactly 10%, in fact. So they are not doing very much towards it, and only half of them have kicked in. Hello, Peter. So yeah, what time is it? It is 4 o'clock in the morning, apparently. So we are most of the way through the night. So hopefully this last 327 gigajoules of power in the batteries is going to keep the factory running until the morning. It's kind of hard to tell, really, because numbers. I feel there's not very much left. I'm actually kind of hoping to complete the game today by my standards of completion, which means do all of the researches, which I have done. As you can see, the only ones left are the infinite efficiency researches. Let's set some more of those running. And get all of the robots being built. And currently, I have go into finances and then sales charts. We can see that I'm now making all of the robots except one. I'm not making science robots yet. All the rest of them are being made in varying quantities. So we've got some cases along here, like the light bots. That's exactly what it should look like. You get a dip at the end there because this is today's sales, and that gradually climbs during the day. But all of the other ones are basically a straight line, so that's doing well. There are a few of these that are going to need a little bit of investigation. I have a note from last time that there was a bit of an iron shortage on the belt, so I'm going to need to take a look at that and try and work out what's going on there. Oh, well, actually, while I'm up here, let's do some of these upgrades as well, because I might as well. They're all available. I don't know. It's free upgrades, so I feel like I might as well use them. Just go through and stick all these in. So my theory with these is to always get product weight first, because that's by far the most valuable, I reckon. And then after that, then I just run each one up by 10 each, and then sort of carry on, and then do the other one up till it catches up, and so on. So yeah, it's a little bit arbitrary, but yeah. So that one gets the product weight first. This one gets there's got the product weight, so we do product quality next. I don't think it makes an enormous amount of difference. I've got more money than I know what to do with anyway, so it's sort of completely irrelevant, except for a sort of case of min-maxing the game as much as I reasonably can. But I feel like I might as well go through and just do what I can to try and make things look, just to use the make numbers go up as quickly as possible, because I feel that's what the game is about at this sort of point. That one, and then marine exploration bomb. There we go. Military. Alright, military's got a few as well. That one and that one. Right, so there we go. So yeah, one more robot to make, and then we're done. So solar should kick in at 8 o'clock in the morning, which is another 2 hours off yet. We'll have another look at that at some point in the future. True, yeah, more productivity means using less resources. That's definitely true. Are you referring to the researchers or the pump jack efficiency researches I'm doing, or the robot production efficiencies? Yeah, because either is true in slightly different ways. So I reckon that last week there was a shortage of iron running along here, and as we can see, there is in fact a solid blue belt running, well, a nearly solid blue belt running along there, running completely solidly. And the fact that it is a solid belt running solidly makes me think that somewhere along here we are using more of it than we have available. Now I don't know if that's leading to other shortages, but it could well. But I would be surprised if it wasn't. So yeah, when we get to about here, you can see there's a lot of it pouring off down this way. Only some of these machines are in action, and yeah, there's now a short. So we don't have as many of these mechanical components coming out as perhaps we would like to. So yes, having additional iron coming in here would be quite nice. I don't know if we have additional iron to bring over to here, and also, even if we did, I'm not sure how we get it in here and then start feeding it into these belts. But I guess that's the challenge of the game, and it is a thing we're going to have to look into, because presumably that's leading to some problems with the throughput we're seeing further down. Now, putting in that extra oil does mean that we now have enough pistons, so that's really good. We've now got a solid belt coming out here and moving along relatively slowly. So yes, that's working quite nicely. I think we can say that one has been that problem has been ticked off, but yes, the iron problem is definitely one. I guess I'd better go and look at that. The question is, do we have enough iron coming in, and it's just that we need to distribute it properly, or do we not have enough iron coming in, and I'm going to need to go and put in another blast furnace over there? In which case, that'll be a much bigger job, even with the magic of copy and paste. So let's come down here and see. So I think we can get, as far as I remember, I think you can get 6 green belts worth out of one blast furnace. And we have 4 green belts coming in here. And not all of those are running solidly. So I feel like the obvious thing to do is to upgrade all of these to blue belts, and then go in and put in some additional drain somewhere. Is it all going up here? Yeah, it's all going into elevators here, and then goodness knows what's happening to it later. So let's start trying to upgrade some of these. So if I do this one, am I going to be able to do the whole thing? It needs 880 belt. Yes, I can. Bip. There we go. That's the entire belt upgraded, and I still have some left as well. I would need to do the other 3 as well, ideally, though. And I don't have enough for that. So I'm going to need to... I wonder where my nearest thingy tower is. I think there's one over here somewhere, but I don't think I can get to it. There aren't any convenient... Oh, there's a way up here. I'm sure. Yes, I was going to say, I'm sure I put in a tunnel for an escape hatch like this. So let's come up here and go and get like 3,000 bluebells if I've got them. This idea concerns me because I think I probably don't have 3,000 bluebells. Oh no, I do have 3,000 bluebells. Awesome. Give me all of that. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that's enough of those to upgrade that entire run all the way from Blast Furnace to those elevators. Now that does mean at the top of the elevators there's going to be all kinds of... Where's the way back down again? There's going to be all kinds of throughput issues because I'm going to be bringing in more than there is the capacity. That's not where I wanted to go. That's not the right hole. There's going to be all kinds of capacity issues. Not the... Where does iron happen? Iron happens over here. This isn't where I... Oh, maybe it is where I came up. Maybe it's here? Yes, it is. Here we go. Right, so first, step 1, drop back down here and upgrade these 3 bells, just because that's easy. Boom. In theory, it's easy, but I've got too much... Okay, we'll get rid of some iron. We don't need iron. We don't need Technum rods. And I don't need that aquatic hauling bot. I'll keep the other 10, but that one means I've got a bit of space. Right, so do that, do that, do that. Right, so that is now, all of these are now full speed. These are all bluebells, so bringing twice as much stuff in as they were before. These elevators are getting very, very full and aren't going to be able to remotely cope. So that's fun. Then from the top of here, what have we got going on? So we've got... From one of them, we've got 2 blue belts coming out. Okay. That's weird, but I guess will work because we've got 2 blue belts going in. But hang on a minute, they had green belts going in before. I guess we're just assuming that these aren't running at full speed, which I guess is fine. Sure. Where does the other one go to? Oh! No, we're chucking it all. There's the other one over there, which I can't get to because there's too much built up. Right, this one is the other. This is the other one that's got 2 blue belts going into it, and is feeding to the other system over. Yeah, so I was right. We've got 2 belts. Yes, we've got. Hang on. 1, 2. There's 4 belts coming in here. 1. Oh, I see. This inserter isn't doing anything. Right, that's why. That's not connected to anything. Right, so we've got 2 belts going into that one, 2 belts going... Okay, good. So the other end of that elevator comes out somewhere, sort of part way up along here, and takes the iron away underground. And I don't know what height it does it at. It just does it somewhere. And then takes it over to pop up over here in order to feed it down the belt over here this way. And we should now have slightly more available. It should be. It's still not a solid belt. I don't understand. Oh, because there's a little bit being taken out here. So yeah, down underneath here somewhere there is another elevator that's bringing the iron up over there, bringing it along here, and then bring it up over here. So let's head down underground here, which I think I can do with a little bit of tunneling and a bit of destruction like that. Can I get in through there? No. Remove the safe. We don't need no safety equipment where we're going. Oop, there we go. Okay, we go even further down. Except we can't. Okay, who designed this place? You will notice that making tunnels that are a bit too small and then running into problems because of them is a recurring theme in this game for me. In fact, I think what I'm going to do here... What the hell? Where am I? What is going on here? Has that just... Oh, okay, here it is. And here is the elevator. Right. So there's now capacity to put in another exerter there. Let's not put it there, though. Let's dig out some more hole like this. And have it come out the side here. So I can take out a few bits there. Put in some more foundation. Right, so my plan is to take this straight over to the new, sort of over to the bus and bring it in part way along. I might even go through and put in priorities on the on the feed for the bus. So put you there. You will be an exerter, and then we will use this tool to go all the way that way. Like that. There you go. So this is... That's more than 2, but never mind. Right, so my plan is we need to dig this tunnel all the way to probably about here, and have it pop up in this sort of area. I think that's probably going to be good enough. And then we can join it onto the bus about here. So that's about 130 or so. I need to go about 160 in this direction. That's going to be a bit of a faff, but... At least with the bots, digging is a lot quicker than it used to be. That's the best I can really say. True, flooring is a bit it isn't truly required anymore. But running around, but it sort of feels cosmetically nice. I feel that having actual sort of deliberate floors and tunnels and things is a good idea. And also now that I can dig tunnels a bit more quickly, because I've got the boring machine and I've got the bots and all of that sort of stuff, it's a big improvement. Where am I? Am I... Okay. What did I say? That was the height. It's actually minus... It's actually minus 217. Fail. Right. That explains why I seem to have got there a bit quicker than I expected. I could also let the drones do it, to be honest, rather than using my bots. So I can come back over here now and go, right, I'm going to start running the belt with what I have. Oh, I've still got 1,000 of them left. That'll be because my inventory gets automatically refilled, of course, which is very, very nice. Well, I could let the bots do the drones do the building, but that's very, very slow, so I won't. The music cut out because it was trying to play so much digging sound. That's hilarious. It's 160, so that's going to get into about 190. Hear that? Yeah, the music is cut out because it can't make enough digging, because the game can only make so many different sounds at a time, and it's prioritising the walking and the digging noises over the music. I do find that quite amusing. And that goes back in. Oh, and a rocket taking off as well. Every time. Okay, so I'm going to do things a little bit differently this time. I'm going to build a tunnel all the way out there, and then put in an elevator going basically all the way up. Even though I'm at a height of 115, which isn't that far underground, but building the spiral ramps always gets a bit annoying. Oh, I'm at 217 already. Right, okay. Well, in that case, let's just take out a slightly different shaped hole like this, and then put in an elevator matron like this. You go that way. You'll be a bottom. Like so. And then we go pew, 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 like that. We fill that in with foundation as usual, so the inserter has something to work with. And then we put in the inserter. about, which is number 7, like that. There we go, I can fill that up. And then from here, we switch back to the mining laser, and we go up. This is that sort of open area where I didn't bother to ever actually quite fill it in properly when I was yeah, because this was when I was flattening the area with the orbital laser, so hence it's this sort of weird shape. And then I put a lid over it so I could build on it, and it didn't look awful. And it now only looks awful when you go underground. Right. Okay. So I can bring my elevator up. Well, what I'm actually going to do is put it in just underground here, and then have a little bit of a ramp popping up, and then bringing the iron over to here, and then we'll feed it in here somehow. Quite possibly, I may well just use this splitter because it's in about the right place. And that's just very, very convenient. So, over here, we will put the top part of the elevator-matron. That's this guy, but atop. Put him in there. Which means I need to mine out that and that and that. Do that again. Elevator top goes there. Boom. And then, well, we dig out across here like that. Put in the foundation like, that's not foundation. Put in the foundation like that. And that. And then it's going to need to go all the way down here. And I'm going to, oh, okay. It's not actually. It's not as far down as I felt it should be, because yes, this isn't the normal depth of hole. This is actually quite shallow. It's quite a small elevator as they go. So then over here, let's tweak that glass belt. Where was it? It was too many belts. I can't get around them all. So if I come around this side like this, let us remove. Goodness sake, sort. Right, remove. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we'll just make this one come round this side of the lamppost instead. And join on there. There we go, that works nicely. Then I can shoot out some holes in the floor here, like that and that. And that and that. And then we go to... actually, then we switch the priority on this thing to input priority from that side. Then I can put my ramps in. Like that. And that. Then let's dip down below ground again, because it's going to be much easier to link it up from below than from above. And then we'll see that. Where are you? Then we see I can't actually see anything down here. Somewhere around there it is. That's where we want to link up to. So I can just put an exerter on here like that, and then run my belt from there to there. Easy. And then, oh yeah, you need to be an exerter. Boop. No power. Okay. Oh, that's easy enough. Plug in. Right, so that should mean we get the iron going in at the bottom, which means there we go, the iron's coming out of the top. We've now got twice as much iron going in. We should be fine. Let us escape, make a hop, seal up the hole, and forget this ever happened. There we go. Okay, I've not heard of Tectonica. I have a lot of games that I want to play, so I'm not particularly short or desperate for things to play. However, it is always nice to have suggestions made. So thank you. I appreciate the suggestion. We shall see if I ever do actually play it. Right. Oh, really conveniently, this has brought in the extra iron. That's really loud. This has brought in the extra iron right by that widget making area. Which does actually seem to be going fast enough now, so that's good. Although that said, because it's all going down a yellow belt, I worry that it only appears to be going fast enough because we've maxed out the yellow belt. The yellow belt is still flowing solidly, so let's upgrade it, if it'll let me. It will. Sweet. Okay, there's a yellow... My inventory's full. How is my inventory so full? What have I filled? Oh, I filled it up with green belts because I got all those, I did the upgrade of all those blue belts to green belts. Let's destroy that railing. I don't care about the railing. And let's upgrade some more. Boop. And there's going to be a green splitter. Sorry, a yellow splitter at the end of this somewhere, isn't there? Yeah, there we go. So if I make you into a green splitter and then you into a green belt, and you into a green splitter and you into a green belt, and so on all the way down. I need the mod that Peter made for Factorio, where you can upgrade entire runs with a single click. That was very, very handy, and would be just what I need for this sort of build, or this sort of upgrade. But never mind, can't have everything. Okay, how do we feel about that? We feel there's a gross shortage of these widgets coming through now. Although that could just be the system playing catch up. Now it's got enough to make them at the rate it makes them at. But I personally feel that it's probably is a shortage, and I'm going to need to do some upgrades, should we say? So let's do some upgrade. Now that we have enough iron, at least probably have enough iron. Hopefully have enough iron. Any old iron. Build that out to there, up to there. Just lose that piece of mountain, please. And come in over here. And these are all exactly identical, aren't they? Yes, they are. So now I can pull out the copy-paste-matron and go from there to there and there. Copy in place. And let's have another 5. That seems like a number. Boom. Just like that. And there we go. Hopefully there's still enough iron coming through. If there isn't, I may cry a little bit, but we do have a green belt going in here, which is a significant amount. Maybe this should actually just be a straight up blue belt, because I think I can see the consumption rate being quite high up front with this. Let's do that. There we go. Okay, there we go. Now the belt is filling up, and we've got a lot more parts coming out here. That looks good to me. I think we've now got to the point where there's enough of these little technical widget, whatever the little widget things are called. Those seem to be being made fast enough. Okay, so my next concern is, are we actually producing the iron fast enough? Now, I might go and be a bit sneaky about this. Do I have a chest? I do. I have a logistics container 3. So let's drop in there and put in a balancer near the end of it, because we do now have 4 blue belts coming through, but I don't think we're producing 4 blue belts worth of iron. However, we're balancing that into two elevators. So it is being balanced to an extent, but it could be balancier. So where are they ever actually all next to each other in a sensible way? No, not really. So my thought was, well, if I have all 4 belts go into a chest, then I can have 4 belts come out the other side of the chest, and that'll mean that if because we've only got a green belt's worth of iron going onto the end of each one of these, so eventually we will run out at the speed they're running at, particularly for the second 2. But if we can top them up with the first 2, which are being used much more slowly, then things will go we'll carry on working for a lot longer before we have any problems. And maybe it'll carry on. Maybe we just straight up won't have any problems. It's probably unlikely, but you know, I can hope. However, that doesn't seem to be a thing I'm going to be able to do. So what I'm going to do now is fly back over to the back over to the iron smelting area. Make sure we are pulling that out as fast as we realistically can, and maybe put in the balancer up at the end. And also, I sort of want to see how much we have left on all these belts, because these are okay. There we go. There are some gaps starting to appear now, but they are filling up before they get too far down. But still, I would rather that was a little bit more balancy. Is this just one? Oh, yeah. Oh, it is already being balanced. It's all going into the same elevator. But a blue elevator should only be capable of doing 2 blue belts on the output. So we definitely have too much demand here. So this is going to need to have some sort of tweak to get it working a little better. Is this way up? No. How do I get out? Oh yeah, up here. I remember. Yeah, so we have 4 green belts coming in, 4 blue belts going out, and I'm pretty sure you can imagine how that's going to struggle a little bit. The thing is, we only have 4 blue belts worth of production over here. Sorry, 4 green belts worth of production over here. These machines are running flat out at the moment. The reason they're not all running is because we've only just done the upgrade, so we're still pulling out of the buffers for some of them. But that's okay. However, I believe this iron blast furnace should be capable of making 6 green belts, so we're not ripping through the iron that's coming out of it, as the molten iron is making as quickly as we could be. So in order to do that, I would copy and paste this section from here to here out again through that mountain, and then upgrade these to blue belts going in there. I would then need to upgrade the elevator as well, but that's a thing I can do. Probably that's sort of worth working on. Devs didn't anticipate my enthusiasm in digging. Maybe, but you know, if they give you an orbital laser, then you're gonna blow stuff up, aren't you? Let's be real here. Okay, so let's see how far we can get with this. I'm not gonna have enough casting machines, pretty sure. But it's worth. We can put in a request and see what happens. So if I want to go from here to, if I want to duplicate everything from here to here, I want to do a copy and place, and I would like to have, yes please, can I have one more? Please sir, can I have one more? There we go, like that. We've got a lot of that is blocked. I don't know how far out this goes. I was going to put in a mining request, but I don't know how far it goes. So that's going to be fun. And also, of the bits that we require, yeah, I have 6 out of the 30 casting machines required. Okay, so this isn't going to fully happen, but if I put in an order for this to be mined out, then at least we can make a start on it. So I want to go from there to there to there, I suppose. Mark all of that for deconstruction. At least some of it will get dug out by the time I come back. I do also need to do a layer down from where I just selected, because I couldn't see the bottom one to select it. So I'll go out to there again, and out to infinity and beyond, like that. And this time we want to go. So we want height. No, not height 38. Height 1, 2, height 3. Like that. I've gone a little bit further on the side, but never mind, I don't actually care. Right, so the drones will come over and do that digging while I go in to get some more casting machines. Hello, Mark. Welcome. Oh, and hello, Tommy. Yes. Are you been watching the Factorio VODs? Yes. So yeah, Monday night streams are Factorio Planetary Pioneers. That's with the 5 of us going out and trying to conquer the universe, essentially. And then Wednesdays are, at the moment, I'm playing Foundry. This may well be the last Foundry stream, although so far I've been yak shaving rather than building the last type of robot. So take it a pinch of salt, but I was sort of expecting it to be the last stream, but I've been expecting to be done for about quite a long time now, in one way or another. Some of it has been because they've added extra content. Some of it has been because I've run out of. I've not realised how short I am of a lot of the stuff that I need in order to make a lot of the stuff that I'm trying to make. Right, yes, I need to get rid of some belts, don't I? You're quite right. So let's come over here, and in here we will put lots of these green belts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got a decent number of green belts, and we'll take some more blue belts because they seem useful. There we go. Is there anything else? Anything else I don't need? Probably don't really need that glass that I picked up. Where's that gone? It'd be under G now, which is unhelpful. Because I apparently don't know the alphabet. There it is. So we can get rid of that. Otherwise, I'm probably okay on building everything I was trying to do over there. Yeah, so the remaining thing to do is one more type of robot, and then make sure that we're producing all the parts quickly enough. So at the moment is going and making sure that I'm producing iron quickly enough, because I'm pretty sure I'm not. Now it hasn't. I just did. So for those of you who've just joined, I just did a big upgrade of the belts, taking the iron from the iron blast furnace over to the main factory, and then put in an extra belt, taking it from where it all gets to and putting it in halfway down the robot making bus. And that has meant that's put in a much higher draw on the iron blast furnace. So I've now got 4 blue belts going down the length of the thing to be taken out at the other end. Running the whole length of the thing. And I think there's 4 blue belts being taken out at the end as well, which is a bit much. Especially as there's only actually 4 green belts feeding the iron in at the top end. So that is not what we would call sufficient. So while I'm here, I'm going to upgrade. A little bit of upgrading. I'm going to upgrade that to a blue belt. I'm going to upgrade that to a blue belt, and the plan is to put in a load more casting machines over here. But it looks like the bots are being a little bit slow about clearing out all of this the rock that I asked them to do. So I guess I'm probably going to have to drop in here and just give them a bit of a hand, because otherwise this is going to take a while, and I'd like to get on with this stage of the build. You see how much more effective I am than the flying drone. Actually, they're doing quite well. I think they have more bots than I do. Bots, drones. I don't know where the line is drawn between them. I'm aware that I'm shouting now, and that's because the game's got really loud in my ears. But I have absolutely no idea what the sound balance is like for you guys. Was I being really obnoxiously loud then, or was the game also being obnoxiously loud and therefore we're sort of balanced with each other? Let me know, and I'll sort of tweak things a little bit. Yes, you do start getting much bigger deposits. So let's have a look at the map. So when I first got started, yes, I was using the normal deposits. That's the little square ones like this. My first one I think was somewhere around here for iron, and then the copper was a little bit further up. And they lasted a while. They didn't do too badly, but yeah, they did run out after not too long. I then tapped a second iron deposit along here, and then a third one here. However, yes, later on in the game, you get the ability to go to these hexagonal ones, and these are ore veins instead of ores. And these are things that they have a lot more in them. And when you get even more advanced technology, you can do a thing with them that means they will never ever run out, and you can just always keep pulling from them at a steady rate forever. The only one that that will always run out all the way through the game is the oil patches, the oleumite. And that is quite frustrating. I've had to expand my oil mining out quite a few times. So there was a patch here that I started with, then I went to one that was about here somewhere, then there's one here, one over here, another one here, another one down here, and now I've finally got absolutely fed up with it. And tapped some, and then tapped 4 that are close together over here. I have installed a mod that now hides the empty oleumite reservoir patches from the map, because I was getting frustrated by them still showing up and confusing me. So that's why they've disappeared. But yes, I've got through a lot of oil patches, which is why I'm currently doing Pump Jack Efficiency Research 13, just because it makes them last a bit longer. Okay, thank you, Board Easy. So I will. Yeah, I will not worry too much about the audio balance, but maybe turn the volume down, turn the volume on my headphones down a little bit, so I'm not shouting at you guys. So actually, having said everything that I've been saying, the iron is still largely keeping up. So with the flow that's coming in from above, I think because these outer 2 belts are running quite slowly and the inner 2 belts aren't running at full speed, between them, they're running at an average of no more than 4 blue belts, and so it's actually okay, which is a little bit weird, because you'd think that... Actually, I suppose the difference is, previously I had, with these all being green belts, if these are running at 60% and these 2 are running at 30%, then these 2 wouldn't be able to keep enough going through. But now, if these are, but now because these are fast enough. No, if these are running at 60%, if these are running at 60% now and these are running at 30%, then that adds up to less than the total that would be coming out of the green belts going in. So I can see how that might make sense. However, I do still want to have a little bit more throughput going in there at the top. Yeah, I would like to start playing with trains. That's going to be... It'll be a thing that happens eventually, but probably not in this playthrough, I think. Because, yeah, I had a play with the train preview, and it was fun to play with, because trains, but it was definitely very, very buggy. I submitted a number of bug reports and then sort of gave up and went back to playing normally because I wanted to be able to actually play the game. But it was certainly promising and makes me look forward to seeing the actual finished working trains when they complete them. So I'm absolutely looking forward to seeing them. Oops. But I'm aware that at the moment they're not ready for use. So yeah, which is a shame. But also on the other hand, if they did suddenly add in the oh, I haven't got this bit for some reason. If they did suddenly add in trains now, then I wouldn't be finishing the game for quite a lot longer. So maybe it's also secretly a good thing that they haven't got it quite ready yet. I know there's supposed to be another update due towards the end of the month. Which is going to add in, I think that might be trains actually, but also is going to be adding in another type of power generation that's basically, it's nuclear by any other name, which is fine. And sort of, I guess I sort of want to finish before that becomes implemented, because I feel like I've played this for long enough now. It's time to go off and do something else. But also, I don't want to leave the game unfinished. So it's I'm in a rather weird position of both wanting the upgrade and not wanting the upgrade. So I feel which feels very, very strange, and even stranger to say. I do intend to come back to the game at some point in the future. When it's a bit, well, probably when it's had its 1.0 release, when it's feature complete, and start playing, and then and probably do a multiplayer run of it at that point, with all the new features in, taking into account a lot of what I've learned from playing this, and also having having the finished game to play with. So exactly, Board Easy. Yes, finish then, and come back and see what's changed once they do the proper release. Yeah, it's kind of, you're right, it's the opposite of Factorio, because the oil patches run out and the metal patches don't. Although the normal metal patches do also run out. So the ore vein mining reminds me a bit of core mining from Factorio Space Exploration, if you've played that. Or even if you haven't, it still reminds me of it. There's some bad grammar there. So it's a similar sort of, you can always just carry on pulling resources out of this thing, but they come out at more or less at a fixed speed. Although the fixed speed in this is much, much higher than the core miners in Space Exploration. So, having made all the mega bases and mega tunnels and all that sort of stuff, you're quite right. It feels like that's been a big sink of resources and everything into the game that would be just all rendered. There'd be a lot of rebuilding of stuff we've already got if I went through to do the replace it all with trains. You're quite right, and I think that's a large part of why I'm very tempted not to, because it would feel like rebuilding a lot of stuff I've already done, just because there's a new tech available. And that is sort of interesting, but it's also sort of not interesting. It'd be more fun to revisit it in a couple of years, and start something that's based a bit more around thinking about trains. Like, for example, I would massively now these days, I would massively spread this out. I'd do a much more of a city block style, or at least a township style. So my mall would be its own separate thing. I'd have multiple different areas making robots, rather than just trying to feed everything from a single bus. Petrochem would be moved a bit further. But the main thing is that everything would be just spread out a little bit more. So instead of having it all crammed together like this, I'd have a bit more space, so that when I go in and realise that I need to expand something, there's a bit more space to do it, and it's a bit easier. Then I wouldn't have. Basically, it's this area here is an absolute horror. There's belts and pipes and stuff going absolutely everywhere, and it's an absolute nightmare. And I'll go over and show it off at some point when I've built these science robots, because it's hideous. But this whole area there's too much stuff going on here, and it is horrible. Later on, I've got a bit more modular. So this is basically a lot of the more later stuff is essentially townships, just with belts instead of trains. So down here, this is my copper production area, and then okay, very close to copper production is green circuit production, because it basically uses copper and then a little bit of plastic. So it made sense to have them nearby, but they are still separated by at least some distance. And then down here we've got coal production, and that's just being shipped to wherever. Then up here we have iron production and then steel production next to it, because it's very closely linked once again. Then we've got telexite processing going on over here to an extent. I can't even remember what's up here. Oh, that's just a mine. That doesn't really count. Even in this area, I mean, it's split off to an extent. So we've got science packs being produced up here, except for the one that isn't, because I apparently can't follow patterns. Then we've got petrochem being done in this area, and then advanced petrochem things being done split off over to here, where they've been made a bit more modular and a bit more separate. This is glass production going on over here. Then energy production is this whole pale green area here. That is just an enormous field of solar. So yeah, it's all been split off a little bit. And yeah, then I could start planning with beacons in mind as well. And yes, if things are a bit more spread out, then there's room to stick beacons in. Although often you find you can put beacons in, because you can just put them in on top of the inserters in an area like this. So if I wanted to module these two, or these buildings over here, I could just put in one of the beacons on top of here, like this, and that would happily affect all of those machines. So putting in beacons isn't too difficult. Although if you want to maximise your beaconage, then you probably have to plan at least a little bit in advance. Anyway, so people, yeah, been asked a couple of times now, what am I going to play next once this is finished? I've had a few ideas. There are a few Factorio mods that I'd like to take a look at. So one of the ones that's fairly high on the list is Foliax. That's the planet that we finished quite recently, but we did it in a rather weird way, because we went in there with rather advanced technologies, and I think it'd be quite interesting to play through that in a more normal way, as a first planet, or as a completely standalone mod kind of way, because the original Foliax was made very much to feel like a standalone mod. So that's going to be one that I'm very, very tempted to do. Green circuits and energy cells. Then there's another. That's convenient. There's another one that Mark has been recommending that I play, so I might have to take a look at that. So energy cells first, then something else, then green circuits. So energy cells, something green. Yeah. Energy cells on this side, green circuits on that side, and whatever the other thing is there. So energy cells? Yes, energy cells. He's told me not to do any research into it because it's weird, and it would be most interesting for me to tackle it with no knowledge at all, which doesn't sound at all terrifying. But apparently that's what he's recommending. So he's probably right. So I'm tempted to give that one a shot. I'd quite like to play some more RimWorld, because it seems to be popular with streamers. I don't know whether that's a reason to play it or a reason not to play it, but I do remember having some fun with it back in the days before I started streaming. I want to play through Day of the Tentacle, the remastered version. That's going to be very much a nostalgia one. I suspect it's probably not going to be a stream that does particularly well, but then I'm sort of okay with that. I'm sort of okay with sometimes playing something for my sake, rather than because I think it'll be fun, rather than necessarily because I think it'll do really well for views. To be honest, Foundry hasn't done amazingly well for views, but I think it's a good game, and I've very much enjoyed playing it, and it does fit in with the channel's sort of type of genre quite well. It's just sadly not well known enough to get the number of views that it really deserves, which is a real shame, because as you've seen, it's a great game and I'm really enjoying it. There was something else I was considering as well. I think there was another Factorio mod that I was considering looking at. But yeah, those are certainly some of my ideas. I feel that Foliax is probably going to be the first one to do, because it's sort of relevant at the moment, because we've been playing it quite recently on stream, so it'd be interesting to see how it goes as a separate thing. Sorry, it would make sense to go through and play it while it's still sort of at the front of our mind, and we can remember what's going on in it. Glass, okay. So I think that's probably going to be my next one. I'm also considering doing a thing where I'll play, where I'll stream a bit more often. So at the moment there isn't a huge amount going on my weekday evenings. I'm between shows at the moment, so I don't have any rehearsals to go to, and so that means it's a good opportunity to maybe do a daily streams for a week, and I think that might be quite fun. Well, you never know. See what it does to my sort of viewer numbers and the channel, everything, and all that sort of stuff. I think it'd be quite good fun. But it sort of requires a bit of planning, and it means I need to make sure I've got enough videos racked up and ready to go. And I had a nice backlog, and then I went on holiday, and then I regenerated, and then I rebuilt my backlog, and then I got ill. So at the moment, I've not been being hugely successful at getting these things up and running. Getting my backlog built up. But it's not going too badly. I've got 1.5. Well, I've got enough videos for this week, and I've got enough. Yeah. So there's some various ideas that I've had for playing around things like that. Bullet Heaven doesn't feel like the sort of game that I'm all that into, I suspect. I know the sort you mean. I've played a little bit of what was it called? Is it Gunbound? Gun something or other. The one with it's a top-down one, or almost semi-top-down one, where you run around in a sort of dungeon thing, blowing up various. Yeah, I'm describing every single game in that genre at the moment, so that's not very helpful. Are we trying to make the rest of the robots? No, we're not. These are meant to be science robots. Science bot. There we go. Have I reprogrammed any of these? I thought I did. No, these are all operators. Okay. Operator robot. Science robot. Attach arm. Sorry, I'm not going to be able to talk while I do this because this requires a small amount of concentration, and therefore my brain is going to go into confusion mode. This is legs. Science robot. Leg. It's a shame you can't. They won't just fit whatever comes through. Although I accept then you might get some weird Franken robots. So maybe that's why it won't. But it is a little bit annoying. You have to go through and configure every single one of these. No. Science robot. Head, and then reconfigure all the welding machines as well. And yeah, this is just a bit annoying. It'd be nice if they were smart enough to just do whatever you fed into them rather than require you to program them all. Or you could just hit a big button at the beginning of it and say you are now all science robot machines. I suppose the game doesn't expect you to copy and paste it because the actual standard game doesn't have copy paste. Therefore, you'd be placing all of these and then going through and configuring them all manually as you place them, which, to be honest, will be even worse, but at least would be consistent. And then over here, you're going to need to paint a science robot. Configure science robot. I don't know. You can have a yellow head, I suppose. Confirm. Here come the robots. Bum 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 bum. They look very different to all the other ones. Okay, there is no paint, is there? No, there's no paint. That's a pain. Yeah. Right. So, shocking puns aside, let's use the smart mode. Then we go from there. La 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 la. Join onto there, and inevitably need a pump. No, it's been okay. Right, and there we go. Now we can paint the bots and put them in here, which is not configured for science robots. There's one more thing to configure. Reset configuration. I would like you to do factory to space station, and you are doing science robots. That one. Confirm. Confirm. And in they go. Lovely. Right, so yeah, this is the rate we expect. Okay. Oh, there's a shortage of whatever goes in here. Oh, I see. That's this. So they're all sort of blocking up here because there's a shortage of heads. That's interesting. But there's plenty of limbs because I got those going last week, so there's just loads of them on the belts. So we can bring it as soon as the torsos come in, they can be limbed very quickly. Then they have to wait for the heads before they can move on. That's Interesting, fair enough, fine. I don't mind where the bottleneck on the belt is, as long as we're producing the robots at the steady rate, which we are. This is the rate we expect them to come through at. This seems to be fine. We do have heads. We just have fewer heads because well, we're making everything at the same rate, and heads were the last one that we got up and running over here. So there are slightly fewer heads than everything else, which means there is a slight backlog. And torsos we got running just before heads, so there's a few more torsos, which is why they're still coming through relatively slowly here, and then they're bunched up here, and then we got them flowing nicely along here once we've got, well, flowing at this rate anyway, which is the rate I intend to be making them at, apparently. Okay, did I finish my train of thought about whatever I was talking about before I started programming all these machines up? I don't really remember. Is no head any relation to no cap? Because I have heard that. I am too old to use that terminology, but I am aware of it because I spend too much time on the internet. Okay, so now it is time to go and ask the space station how things are going up there. So we can have a look at the finances tab again. Once again, this is the easy place to look to see how the robots are going. And things are looking pretty good. Transport bots, great. Heavy duty bots, great. Transport drones, there's a blip there, but now great. Aquatic hauling bots, they seem to, the last couple of days, seem to be fairly steady. I think that's probably all right, although I will want to check back on that in a couple of days. Yes, 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 yes. Hydro mining bots, they were struggling, and now I can't tell. I mean, it's got massively better, but I would like to see a couple of days of flatlining before I assume it's okay. That's good, that's good, that's good. I guess same with science assistant drones. That's weird, but sure. Hopefully it'll get up to this sort of rate again, and then everything will be both hunky and dory. Minor robots, there's been a bit of a drop off there. That's slightly concerning. Yeah, basically, I've got, since having fixed the iron and the pistons, we haven't really spent enough time with the factory all running. So I don't know if everything is okay. I can only sort of, well, I can check out the belts, see what sort of rates stuff seems to be going through at, whether there are any empty belts, but largely it's hard to tell. There does seem to be a bit of a shortage of these guys coming through. We're making them flat out, so if there is a shortage of them, it's just that we don't have enough machines. It might just be that we had a shortage. Oh, and we're loading up a spaceship right now, so that's probably okay. The question is, will this fill up completely? Actually, the other question is, do we have enough spaceships doing the station to ground run to make sure we keep feeding the robots through? That's probably something that's going to need to be checked at some point as well. Both small ships and the large ships that come over to get these ones as well. Maybe I should get some more of those running. Yeah, the mechanical parts, yes, I believe they did. Let's confirm that rather than just saying yes in a questioning tone of voice. So looking down there, they look to be fine at the moment, but this is the wrong part of the belt to be looking at to tell whether they're actually fine. If I fly all the way along here, my eyes are going funny. Ooh. Yes, the mechanical components are absolutely fine. We've got about less than half of the machines running, and that is enough to keep up. So yeah, that's going really well. Having doubled that and fed in an extra belt of iron, they're now in a great position. I agree entirely with Board Easy. We're at a stage now where we just need to let the system run for a day or two and see how it gets on. And I think you're absolutely right. How is power doing? That's another question that we're not really at the right time of day to check. The batteries are charged up to like 80%, which is pretty good, given that we've been using the power, and we've been using them now for about, I don't know when solar ran out, but we've got until 8 o'clock in the morning before it kicks back in again. But it seems to be doing pretty well. It's at 80%. That means we're a fifth of the way through the night. I don't know if we're actually. I feel like that might have used a bit more of the battery capacity than we should have done. I want to know how much power the solar panels are generating, but I need to check during the day to find out, and I don't know. I suppose in theory I could work it out. There's 1,759 of them. I could multiply that by the amount of power they make, but I think I'll just wait until tomorrow and have a look then. That seems to be okay. Looking across here, that copper belt is flowing steadily and solidly. That concerns me a little bit. So let's upgrade it. And then do the usual, well, there's going to be a yellow splitter at the end of it somewhere. I'd quite like to drag an upgrade planner over the entire factory and upgrade all belts to at least green. But that is not a thing in this game, so I can't. Yeah, that's now running in little bursts, so that is actually, there was enough copper on the belt. That's fine. It just seemed to be running constantly. But apparently it's just running constantly, but at exactly the right speed, so, you know, can't complain there too much. All the usual suspects seem to be pretty happy, and by usual suspects I mean things like the energy cells and the processors and the pistons. It looks good. I don't see any problems down here. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. Panel maximum output should be 1.1. Oh, that sounds familiar. Yes, I did get to about 1.1, 1.2 thousand. Yes, thank you, Gims, presumably. Yes, the panels, the solar panels were making nothing. Yeah. So let's see if the solar panels are making 1.1 gigawatts, and we're using less than half of that, and that makes me feel that things should be roughly balanced. Although it's possible that I need a lot more batteries just to provide a bit more capacity for overnight. It is hard to say. Especially as I have steam turbines to kick in at some point as well. What's it saying? Oh yeah, the other thing I can do is check with the space station and see which bots I have enough of in storage. So if we look in storage and at robots, they should all be at about 200. If they're less than 200, like that one is, then that means I'm selling them too quickly around the rest of the galaxy, and therefore I need to be making them faster. And mining drones are a bit of a concern on that one because, yeah, those are things I've been making for absolutely ages, but apparently there's a huge amount of demand for them. Now, none of them are down at 0. I'm saying none of them are down at 0. No, that one is. Mining robots are down at 0, so perhaps I need to go and look at increasing the production rate of those. And that's going to be really, really awkward because, so some of the later robot types, yeah, the later robot types. Let's have a look. The ones down here, for example. This is what I would call quite a good design. These are all very, very expandable. If I wanted more robots to be made, it'd be trivial. Just copy and paste these machines out, bump, bump, again like that, and these ones out, bump, 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 and then just sort out the loopbacks on the sushi belts. That would be really, really easy, and I could get twice as many being made. However, some of my first big robots, if we come back over here, I think weren't quite as sensibly made. These are the first ones. These may or may not be mining robots. Let's have a look. No, I think I did farmer robots first, didn't I? It is running. Yes, farmer robots first. So here, we've got the various robot parts, yeah, being made in front of this line. So there's no way to extend this. This is as big as it gets. If I wanted to make this bigger, I'd have to rebuild it from scratch, probably, which would be rather annoying. And mining robots, I think, are you guys mining robots? Yes, here we go. Yeah, these are mining robots, and again, it's the same sort of thing. They're made before the belts are. Now, I suppose I could lift these up and have them built on a level up, and going out possibly over the top of this, build everything up, ship it down to these. That would certainly be possible, and probably be easier than rebuilding the whole thing. But then, yes, after that, I got a bit smarter and started building them like this, and this is much more expandable as required. So why are we short of mining robots? Mining robots were the second ones I said, so these ones over here. Okay, so it looks like there have been hiccups because we can see we've got some stuff bunched up along here. We had a shortage of whatever's being put on at this point. Arms, by the looks of it. Yeah, we apparently had a shortage of arms, or a shortage of something that goes into arms. and that has now been sorted. So we've got them flowing through at the steady rate now. So maybe it's just that we had a bit of a shortage, or maybe it's that we need to make more arms. I wouldn't like to say. Arms seem to be a bit limited by the number of the handheld drills we're making. So you know what? Let's double that, just because that is going to be trivial. Select an area. So from there. To there. Whatever. Let's bring that out to there. I think we're going to have a clash there. But if I confirm faced, and then go, actually, we don't want to put you there. We want to put you there because we need to have a long one in there. There we go. And on the other side, yep, all's fine. There we go. We can make these things at twice the rate we were doing before, and maybe that'll help, or maybe they'll just back up very, very quickly along here because I got the numbers exactly right. All the machines seem to be working, so I suspect I probably just haven't. I suspect what I've done there is not going to actually make any useful difference. I don't know. Lots of robot production dipped. It is quite. I wouldn't be surprised if mining robots was one of them. Yeah, you're probably right. But it was noticeable that was the one that we just didn't have any of up in space, which is not how it's supposed to go. But there's one there now. That's a big improvement. Personal assistant robots also a little bit low. That one I can just double the production rate of though very, very easily. So maybe I should do that. Because I think this comes down to which things are in demand on the galaxy map. So we go out here, we go Amuria require. No, it doesn't require any. This is a very simple place. Can we have a planet that's asking for some robots rather than just drones? Where are my robots going to? Because I know I'm selling lots of them. Okay, this place is requesting minor robots. We're sending them over there as fast as we can, as fast as it wants them. Or we're trying to, at least. And demand is well, it says max demand satisfied, but that's only because I've pulled the slider out that way. It doesn't know if we actually can or not. But yeah, the theory is that we're shipping them all over there at a nice steady rate, and things are apparently going well. But yes, over here we can see there's a few of these that we seem to be a bit short of. But increasing the production wouldn't be too difficult, and it's very, very tempting. So maybe I'll go and do that with the personal assistant robots, and I think the science robots may just be getting up to speed at the moment. I'm happy to give them a little bit longer. I think yes, I went through the sales platform and I set all of the bot types here to maintain 200 before, so I can sell them on the sales platform. So that's fine. I don't know, Tommy. I don't think it's remotely possible to control the map. I mean, well, so there are a number of ways to play this game. One of which is, so the way I'm doing it is I'm digging up all the raw materials I need, whether it's coal or copper or iron or oil, tellurium, and then doing all of the processing on planet, and then shipping out finished robots. You can play the game a different way by buying in completed components. So you could buy in pistons, or you could buy in processors, or you could buy in iron, you could buy in whatever things you want, have that shipped down from space, build the robots, and then ship the robots off to be sold. So you can, and I suspect if you did that and just concentrated on making absolutely massive numbers of robots essentially from raw materials, then you could dominate the market a lot more easily. However, even then, given that the map is I'm not going to say it's infinitely big, because it ain't. Come on, there we go. But it's big enough that I feel that I'd get bored before I dominated a remotely large part of it. It just doesn't seem reasonable. This feels like they've got a map from somewhere, or they've procedurally generated it or something, and they just have here is a huge amount of space, go nuts. Rather than it being a realistic one that here is your objective. I sort of object to that a little bit, because I feel like it'd be nice to make it a reasonable thing that you can accomplish. That said, on the other hand, if you make a thing that can be reasonably accomplished, then people will accomplish it relatively quickly, and then they go, now what? So it is, in a way, it's nice to have a functionally infinite goal, just because then you can make your factory as big as you like and just know that you'll never run out of places to go to. Yeah, too big. Yes, it's too big to realistically be considered a goal. And yes, and would also be far too samey, so you get stuck in a rut. However, I think if you think about it from a different point of view, and you think about it as being just a really big area, so you've got room to expand as much as you want, that's a better way of looking at it, and feels a bit better. What I do dislike a little bit is that you can go in here and look at your competitors. And I am gradually making my way up the rankings here. But even then, my weekly earnings are still a fraction of the well, they're less than half of the lowest one on the list. My lifetime earnings are a tenth of the lowest one on the list. So the scale difference here, I don't know. I feel that there should be more smaller ones, and then some very big ones at the top. So it should, maybe the ones at the top are a sensible size, but there should be smaller ones at the bottom, so you achieve overtaking people a bit more quickly. Yeah, I think you could be right. I might have gone. Yeah, I'm at 1800 now, so I probably overtook these two quite recently, and I overtook these two a few weeks ago. But I'm basically at the end of the game at this point. I feel like I should have been working my way up the leaderboard for quite a while now, and I should perhaps be maybe halfway up at this point, with the ones further up being harder goals to go for if you really want to. Yeah, I have now built all of the bots and all of the drones, and I'm just trying to decide how many of them are worth selling. The other thing is, going out and filling up the galaxy map is a bit of a faff, because, well, firstly, you need to make sure you've got enough spaceships, so I'll need to go in, probably need to go in here. I don't know how many I've got at the moment. I've apparently used all of my... Oh no, I've got one spaceship remaining at the moment, but let's buy some more ships anyway, because why not? And I've been using the What have I been using? I've been using small cargo ship tier 2s because that makes the most sense. Oh, and I can't just hammer on the button to buy 1,000,000 of them. So firstly, for every planet you want to go out and poke, you need to buy another ship for it like this. Then once you've got some ships, you then need to go over to the galaxy map, and then you need to go where do I want to go? Should we go to Quanix? Yes, all right, we'll go to Quanix. Then you actually, I've already started this one, so let's demonstrate from scratch. So you need to buy a sector, then you need to buy the access to the planet, then you open supply route trading, then you say, yes, I want to add a ship to it, whatever, pick a ship, there we go. Then you go over to supply configuration, then you have to set all these bars to maximum, then you click save, and then, at that point, you've started selling to that zone, that planet. I feel like there should be a single-click option to do all of that, where I go, I want to sell to Drulin, I have a ship, or even if I don't have a ship, buy a ship. Just go through and do all of that with a single click, so it's much quicker and easier to just get everything just going. Okay, so we've done that. I seem to have already done this one. There is a ship assigned. We've set all the supplies up there. Okay, so this one is done. We're just trying to just waiting to steal domination of this sector, which is why it's shaded at the moment. My current market share is 52% apparently, so I'm halfway there. So now I can go out to Drulin and say, yes, I'd like to unlock the sector, I would like to buy the planet, I'd like to supply route configuration, I would like to add a ship, that one, I'd like to then sell, yes, that one, and 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 save. There we go, and that's doing that one now. And then it's just sort of, it's a long process of doing this for every single one that you want to have. And also making sure that you don't run out of licenses for everything as well. I should check how many of those I've got left in a moment, because that's another thing that I haven't mentioned, is that you can eventually you have a limited number of planet sectors and a limited number of planets that you can be selling to at a time, and you can increase that by upgrading your So I'm using 36 out of 50 of my trade licenses at the moment, for example. Now that can be increased by going in and doing more upgrades to your space station. So it's just a thing you have to go in and upgrade, sure. But there are so many steps to go through to get these things working that it's a bit of a faff. Exactly, Board Easy. Yes, I feel like for the amount of effort that's going into it, you should be given. It's like in an RPG or almost any game where you have any form of leveling up. It should happen relatively. It should initially it should happen very, very quickly. These guys only want heavy duty transport bots. Okay. It should happen very, very quickly at the start. Your initial unlocks, your initial level ups should happen very quickly. You get loads of because it's satisfying, and then as you get further and further in, it should get harder and harder. And so I feel that overtaking people on that. Oh, this is not a big enough ship. Well, ship. Let's go back over here. Let's buy a bigger ship. We'll have a medium ship for this one, please. So okay, there's a little bit of variety going on here. So you are actually going to not get that ship. You're going to get. Oh, liters. Right. Okay, you're going to get a big ship because you're you have high requirements. You're going to get that. Blimey, they do want a lot of stuff. There we go. What was I saying? Yeah. So yes, leveling up. It should be really, really easy to get your first few levels or overtake your first few competitors, first few boss fights if you want to look at it that way, and then it should get harder and harder as you get further in, which it and so therefore happens sort of less and less often, as it were, essentially. But that doesn't seem to really be the case. Well, I mean, it sort of is the case here, except the floor is still too high. This one needs a big ship as well. So again, get back here and spaceships, buy a ship, buy another big ship. Maybe I should just be using the big ships at this point. I don't know. In fact, let's buy a couple of big ships. I do seem to keep using them. Back out to the map. Stranding Nexus, wasn't it? Yeah, here we go. Supply route configuration. Ships. Deassign that one. Yes. Okay, add ship. Big boy. Deassign ship. Little boy. Yeah, and having to tweak the remove things from here before I could remove the ship is also a bit of a nonsense as well. That shouldn't be the case. So, but yeah, then I do accept that it says early. Well, it doesn't actually say early access in the top corner of the screen at the moment because I'm in this map view. But in theory, I know it is an early access game, and therefore I shouldn't be too picky about these things. But I guess a lot of what I'm saying is things that I feel I would like to see them improve. I've still got a couple of ships left, so I'm going to carry on a little bit further. Unlock sector, planet, acquire trade license, fly routes, give it a ship. That's quite a lot of stuff. I think that's going to need to be a big ship. Give it a big ship anyway. Supply configuration, and then yes, as I say, I feel like all of these there should be just yes, I want to sell maximum amounts of everything to everywhere that will allow me to. There we go, save that in there. But it's a bit slower than that. Let's go back up here. Unlock. Trade license. Supply route. Configuration. No, ship management first. 2 ships left. Okay. Are we going to be able to get all of these? Probably not. Or maybe they're all light. Yeah, they're all light stuff, so that did fit. And that was I sort of deliberately went back closer to the centre because I reckoned it'd be a bit easier over here. So at least that is it. At least we have now found a bit more of a use for the bigger ships, so that they're not completely wasted. Even if it did feel like they might be a little bit earlier on. Right, so there we go. I've used up all the ships I've bought. So now I've expanded out of it. All these ones that are all the ones that are blue are ones where I'm dominating the sector. I have full market dominance or decent market dominance there. Then there's ones like this one where I've got. In this case, I think I had 51% market dominance so far. But I am the leader, but only by a relatively small amount. I think it said 50. Oh, maybe it was on the planet, so it was 51%. I'm 86% on that planet. And 53% on that planet, so goodness knows. Anyway, so I'm somewhere in between on this sector. I am not the. This doesn't make any sense. Oh, I am. Okay. I'm the market leader on one of the planets and not the other. That's probably why it's stripy. And then there's these ones where other people are currently the market leader, but I'll probably be taking that away from them relatively soon. Okay, so yeah, I can expand out a little bit like that. Let's go back to the space station because I want to set up. I actually do want to buy some more ships because I'm pretty sure I'm not going to have enough ground to space capacity at this point because I've done quite a lot of expansion since I've expanded these. So I'm going to come down here and then going to set these ones up as planetary shipping, just to make sure that I have enough lift capacity to bring all of the robots up from the planet to the space station. Right, there we go. Let's close that down again now. And go, oh, it's daytime. I was going to check the power consumption things. So, yes, as someone said, we're making 1.1 gigawatts. The batteries are fairly close to full. It looks like that's more than half of the power is going into the battery. So those are almost certainly... Ooh, prestige rank. Nice. I don't really know what that means. But I guess it means it has more market dominances, presumably. So what time is it? It is 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, so we're going to have full batteries by the evening. That seems to be going quite well. Generally pretty happy with that. So we've had a bit of time has passed now. So let's go and have a look at the sales charts again and see how things are looking over here. Science robot is just on the up and up. That's sort of what you'd expect because it's a new robot type. It's only been going a day. Otherwise, I mean, it's we can't really tell. We need more time to pass before I can really go in and draw any proper conclusions from that. At this point, and I suppose actually what I can do is I can go back and have another look at the space station, see what robot types we're short of, because I was going to try and expand out some of them, wasn't I? So science robots, I think I'm happy to assume that's playing catch up, but minor robots I do need more of. Personal assistant robots I need more of, and I can do that relatively easily. Oh, and operators. Personal assistant first. So where are we making those? Here. Awesome. I am amazed I got that right first time. So what I'm going to do is copy. I'm going to do this in two halves because it's big and complicated. So I'm going to come to here. I'm going to get the copy paste-o-matron out, and I'm going to select an area which is going to go from there to there to there, I guess, and I can do a copy in place and a paste like that. Then I can drop down a little bit and put in this flooring because, you know, it'd be nice to have some flooring under my everything. Horizontal, please. There we go. Let's have a bit of that. And then over here, right, this belt then needs to come out from there and go out this way and join onto there. Fine. And then that gets pulled up and put back in like that. There we go. So that's doubled our limb production now. Assuming the sushi can keep up, and I don't see any reason for it not to. That's doubled the limb production. And we've got a random piece of ramp there, but never mind, we can get rid of that. Then I do the same on the other side. So give me that and select a new area. This time it'll be from there to there. Oh, that ramp's going to be a problem. We want to put it there, but we need to cut this. Right, so now I can paste that. I said I could. Oh, for goodness sake. What's going on here? Well, can I paste? No. Oh, I picked it up by mistake. Grr. It might be easier just to start again, but probably not actually. All right, so that goes there, and there, and there. Yes. Now I can confirm paste. I don't... What? Paste. Why are you not pasting? If I pull this out to there, is that in the right place now? Yes. What if I paste there? Okay, there we go. Fine, be like that. Then this belt needs to come from there. Goes out. I'm gonna have it come around this way this time because I think this will be better. Easier if I ever need to expand it again in the future, anyway, which is almost the same thing. Which is a type of better. I can go into there instead. And I believe that should now... Yeah, they're working now. So now all these machines are working. That means we're producing twice as many robot bits. And so, fairly soon, once it sort of all filters through and everything starts working as it should, there we go. We're now getting twice as many robots through. So each of these, where we've got 2 robots wandering along the belt here, we used to just have 1 with the same sort of gap between them, or between sets. So now we are straight up just making twice as many operator robots per minute, which is lovely. So that's going to help a lot with that limitation. Yeah, I did. I had a look through the list of mods that were available in the Steam Workshop, and I picked out all the ones that looked good, should we say, or looked interesting. And there weren't very many that I didn't have. So I've already got the duplicationer, so the copy-paste mod. I've got one that allows your inventory to have much bigger stacks of all the dirt types, and I've got one that removes empty oil patches from the map. And there might be 1 or 2 others, but basically none of them are too drastic. But no, I don't remember seeing anything that would allow you to make the planet sail configuration easier. It's possible it's there, and I just didn't notice, but I didn't see it. Alright, so the other one was the mining robots, wasn't it? I think it was mining robots. Let's check. No, not finances. Storage. Yeah, miner robots. Oh, and operator robots. And, sorry, personal assistant robots. Alright, let's find personal assistant robots, because again, that should be pretty easy. What are you? Combat. Operator. Was that the one I just upgraded? No. I thought I just upgraded operator robots. This is the one I upgraded, but maybe I did personal assistant, not operator. Yeah, okay, so I should go back and do operator. These seem to have stopped. Why have you stopped? Not getting any arms. Why is there sadness? Ah, this is jammed. Okay. That is a known risk with the with my design, unfortunately. Maybe one of the things I should be doing is going through and making them jam resistant. So the way to do that would be to have instead of having the basically we'd put a chest on the input and have that and feed in all the ingredients that are required, and then have separate outputs and have it only feed into the chest when there's less than a certain number in there, and then that'd be a proper sushi system. Whereas as it is, there is a chance of jamming, as you saw there, and when that happens, it is very, very unfortunate. So I almost feel like I need to go along here every so often and check out all of the sushi belts just to make sure they're still flowing, which is not ideal and is clearly a sign that I should come through and do a better design. But that's a next time I play thing, I think, because it's going to be a sufficiently big rebuild that I don't really want to. No sushi belt on that side. And I don't think these designs had sushi belts. No, they were just significantly more cramped. Yeah, okay. So no jam sushi belts at least. So it was this was the other one I was going to increase, wasn't it? Because this was operator robots. No combat. And that's stopped. Why is it stopped? Okay, it hasn't stopped. It's just a little bit of a backlog in that stage. Right, so here we go. Operator robots. So here I can do the same thing again. I can duplicate these two sections, and then we'll get twice as many coming through. You will notice that a lot of the builds are very, very similar because a lot of the recipes are very, very similar. So it made sense to do them all in exactly the same way. At least I felt it did. So I would like to duplicate from... That's not duplicate. I would like to duplicate... I would be very sad if I'd accidentally just ripped up my entire robot production facility here. Can we select that square, please? From there to there to wherever. There. Copy and place. Right, so it's going to go out boop to here. So let's put in the flooring first, just because it's nice to have some flooring down. And this one isn't over water, so I'm going to have to. It's going to be a little bit harder to get at after I've done this. Boop. Remove that again, and then over here, that runs round to there. And unlike a certain other game I can mention, you can't adjust the direction of a belt just by by clicking directly on it. You have to remove it and replace it, but never mind. There we go. Sushi belt sushis. And we're now making twice as many limbs, so that was really, really easy. Then we have the more complicated part where we come back over here and do the same thing again for the heads and shoulders. So I'm going to select a new area, and it's going to be from here to here. Yes. Short to here. And then we're going to go copy and place. We're going to move it to there. But then we're going to go, oh, wait a minute, I need to remove... Fine, let's dump some trash in machines, shall we? Oh, and we're running out of electricity over here as well. So that's going to be a thing to look at in a second. Okay, we'll do that in a moment. No. Right, now, can we start picking some of this stuff up, please? Thank you. Paste. Right, and then we have this belt go round and about and up in there. It's much neater having it go back round and in there instead of coming over and looping around the way it was before. Right, so remove that. I don't know what that was for before, but it's gone now. Can't hurt us. And there we go. We've got twice as many machines making the the heads and shoulders now. So that should speed up production up here. We've got plenty of torsos coming out, which is quite nice. They were backlogged quite a long way along the belt, and it looks like I don't know. That isn't heads. I don't know where heads come from. Oh, maybe it is. Yes, it is heads. Yeah, so now the limbs are coming through a bit faster. We can get there. We go. We've got these these twice as many robots coming through in pairs instead of in singles now, which is quite nice. It shows the system is working as intended. Yes, certainly can use more ships going out to the same other planets to transport more stuff. But if I can just use a single bigger one, then I feel like I might as well. I feel like it makes more sense to do it that way than to have multiple little ships. Might as well just send one big ship. I feel like that's going to be more efficient with fuel. I'm not certain that it is, but I feel like it probably is. Yeah, there's definitely differences in the level of model detail. And in some cases it sort of makes sense, like a sheet of glass is a pane of glass, a sheet of metal is a sort of metal, same sheet of plastic and so on. Whereas a lot of the ores and rubbles and things are a bit more interesting. The circuits have an appropriate level of detail, but then all the robot parts are just a box with a label on the top of it. But then that's probably okay. It'd be a bit over the top for every single one to have the actual part on that. I don't know. I don't feel too strongly either way about that. But I feel like and especially as these sort of boxes are also used for all of the buildings you make. So if you make belts, or if you make assembly machines and then put them on a belt, they'll be in a box like this, which probably makes more sense than having a miniature assembly machine sitting on the belt, as much as having an assembly machine sitting on the belt can make any sense at all. But they need to be transportable by the belts, because you need an assembly machine 1 to make an assembly machine 2 to make an assembly machine 3. So you need to transfer them between machines. So you've got to transport them around somehow. I guess they flat pack. That must be how it works. It would be cute, yes. It'd be a bit like Factorio. Have you seen those screenshots of people who've made miniature train systems where they put, rather than laying a rail as a piece of rail, they put the rail item down on the floor, and then they've had several of those with a couple of wagons and a locomotive and then some more rail, and it looks like a tiny, tiny train. Yeah, Dyson Sphere program took it to the extreme, where everything was one of these sort of cube things, and you had to get close to them to try and work out what was in each one. Even the liquids. You're quite right, and it was a bit too much, and it didn't work. Whereas here, most things are fairly easy to tell apart from a bit of a distance, because they are generally all different, unless they're just a robot part or something like that. At which point, it's kind of forgivable, I think. So I think they've gone to a sensible level here. The robot parts probably could be made into items on there relatively easily, because they do already have the models, because the models are being put together to make the actual robots along here. So it wouldn't be too hard to have those parts just drifting along the belts. But yeah, they haven't anyway. Yeah, and factory games as well, I think, are known for the lack of respect of volumes. Like, I mean, whenever there's this sort of rather dull habit people have of whenever you criticise anything about the physics in Factorio, they'll go, "Oh, but you can carry 12 trains and 3 nuclear reactors and 100 nuclear reactors in your pockets, therefore your argument is meaningless." And it's, yeah, okay, so yes, there are some breaks from reality in the game, and we accept that, and we're sort of kind of okay with it, and we put up with it even if it's a little bit silly. But just because there's that break in reality doesn't mean that everything should be unrealistic. If copper turned into steel, you'd still complain. It's a bit like people have to also do the same sort of things about fantasy books. Like if you complain about how long it takes for I don't know how long it took Littlefinger to get from King's Landing up to the Vale or something like that, then people will go, "Why are you trying to use real world rules on this? There are dragons in the books." And you go, "Yes, I know there are dragons, but that is a clearly stated departure from the real world, and has its own rules. And if a departure from the real world hasn't been stated, then if there is a thing that is called a horse and acts like a horse, you assume that it is basically a horse and therefore can't go faster than about 10 miles an hour over a long period, or whatever is a thing in there." Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but the point is that yes, you suspend disbelief to an appropriate level. Like you don't mind that Game of Thrones has dragons in it, even though a dragon is not a real thing, but you still expect a horse to move at horse speed. You don't expect it to be able to be functionally capable of teleporting somebody around the continent. I think that's the important part here, and that's the bit that people sort of gloss over to an extent. Oh hey, we've run out of the most simple and basic... We have more or less run out of the most simple and basic robot type that there is in the game. That's quite impressive. We also need to go and look at the Science Assistant drones. So let's go and check those two out. So, transport bots and Science Assistant drones. This is where I go, where the hell am I making all of these things? I have absolutely no idea. You know what, let's do it the other way round. Let's go along here and look for robot types that aren't being made quickly enough to keep the thing full. So here we have a steady trickle of them coming through, but it is definitely a trickle. So I think that means it's time to double the production over here. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to get everything from what's going on here. Yes, that is an internal loop back. Yes. So we want to get everything from here. Oh no, we don't. We want to select a new area. So everything from here to... Yes, this is the bit that's actually making the robots. To here. To here. I would like to have another one of those, please. Biff! No, don't press the wrong button. Ah, rage. Goes there. Yes, goes there. Paste. Right, and over here I need a few more inputty bits and outputty bit. Why are these going in opposite directions? Oh. What the heck? What is going on here? Right, so you are making operator bots. I know, I need to check out the power. You're trying to make operator bot. What are you doing? Why are you the other way around? You're making portable lights. What have I just expanded? What is going on over here? I do not understand. And clearly this belt is wrong. So if I now extend this like that, and that, and that, and that, and that, and then same over here, we're now going to get a lot more operator bots than we know what to do with, but that's better than what was going on before. I don't understand why it's saying not enough space in character inventory when it did what I asked it to do, but that's a problem for the front. That's a problem for this. Something else. Right, so where were the operator? So there's an operator bot going off at what the hell is going on here? So we've got right. So I think these machines making operator bots shouldn't be. So I think this shouldn't be here. I think I should have more space in my character inventory in order to allow me to do any of this sort of stuff. Right, try again. Ugh. How much? Okay, I am very full of those. So I'm pretty sure that all of this stuff along here should not be there. This isn't doing anything, but but these single machines are making the lights that go into the operator bots. So now we should be making twice as many of those. Where are they going? Yes, they're going down this belt here. So yeah, that has doubled the throughput, but there are a lot of machines here that are doing absolutely nothing, and I have no idea why they're there, and I can't get rid of them because my inventory's full. Right, okay. Skeletons I think are generally, they're sort of reanimated by magic. So at that point I feel like it's a sort of a, these things are magical. Okay, I accept that, I will deal with it. I'm okay with them just being a magical thing that doesn't entirely, it doesn't make sense, but it is. I mean, like, it's like a dragon couldn't exist in the real world because they're too heavy to fly. They're not realistic, but that's okay because they're cool. We accept that dragons are oh, I need to sort this power out. We accept that dragons are just a thing that you have in fantasy, and well, we accept that they're a bit ridiculous. But we don't care because they're cool. I've got two areas that are struggling. What is this? This is okay, this is my main area. I don't know where that is, which is problematic. Okay, let's fix the first one of these because that's easy. So I believe that's this area, so I just need to put in more these guys across here. Yeah, so the point basically is that having dragons or skeletons or something like that is okay, because it's accepted that they are a weird, fantastical creature that couldn't exist in the real world, as they are, but because it's a fantasy series, you accept that you're allowing for magic. You're allowing magic to exist, and there are various different types of magic as well, which is something that Sanderson talks about quite a lot. You can have a hard magic system like Mistborn, where you understand how the casting machine, chemical processors. Where is this? This is probably the iron area, actually, isn't it? Yes, this is the iron and steel area. Okay, let's go over and fix that as well. Yeah, you have where you have actual hard rules as to how the magic works. So the magic is just an alternative type of physics in a way, and the Cosmere is very, very good about that. And then on the opposite extreme, you have something like Lord of the Rings, where it's a soft magic system, where there is definitely magic around and it happens, but you're never really told what the rules are about it. It's just that sometimes somebody will do a thing that is impossible, and it's and you're told that it's magic, and that's. Yeah, exactly. Yes, you're right, Tommy. The story absolutely must follow its own rules and not break its rules. Otherwise, you'd completely wreck everything. And one of the things that Mistborn does quite nicely is that a lot of what you think you know is being explained by characters in the book, and there's no guarantee that they're right. And I don't want to say too much for spoilers, because if you haven't read Mistborn, you really, really should. But there are definitely times where people say there is this way of doing things, or this has this effect, and as far as they know, that is correct. But it turns out there are other things that also take effect on that, or there are other ways that it can be used, or other things that can be done that they don't know about simply because in that time it hasn't been discovered. And then later on, somebody will discover a thing, and you go, "Oh yeah, I see how that works, how that makes sense." Or they will use the power in a way that makes perfect sense with the rules that you've been told, but is not a way that the power has previously been used. And again, you go, "Oh yeah, I see why that makes sense." Or even better, you think yourself, "Hey, why don't they do this? That'd be really cool." And then half a chapter later, the character does that, and you go, "Aha, I called it." And that's really satisfying. And that happened to me a couple of times while reading Mistborn, and it was, yes, very, very, very pleasing. Yes, I've just finished rereading Mistborn Era 2. I think the next one to reread is probably going to be Wind and Truth, because that's I think probably the only Cosmere book that I've only read once. Oh no, actually no, I've only read Isles of the Emberdark once as well. But yeah, I've definitely want to work my way through and reread all of them at some reread or reread, depending on where I've got to. But possibly I should read something that isn't Sanderson at some point as well. Although I read a load of Discworld a little while ago as well, so that was quite nice. Right, what's it doing? Oh yes, I was going to go along here and check that we actually had decent numbers of bots. Right, so there we go. Now I've fixed this, you can see there is an actual queue on the belt. And if there is a queue on the belt, then I'm going to say that I'm happy. I'd be even happier if the queue went all the way back to the production area, but I think this is basically okay. Then here we see there's again a shortage. Okay, so we can come along here. I guess this is going to be another let's just duplicate. So we can select from, that's not the right button, stop doing that, you'll break something. Okay, this is a multi-step one, so I need to select a whole I need to select both of these. Come on, give me that. Right, select an area. I'd like to select from there to there. Copy and place. Boop. Unboop. I'm not going to be able to pick this up, am I? Because I'm not going to have the space, inventory space. Those I should put back where I got them all to help me. Right. Okay. Let's put down a chest of shame. I have a big chest, so I'll put that down over here and then fill it up with some shame. So you are going to get. Ideally, this would be a Zeno chest, so I could get stuff back out of it. But oh well. You're going to get that. You're going to get that and that and that and that and that. Oh, apparently I get smelters back automatically. Oops. You can have some empty barrels for some reason. Those are things I get automatically. Casting machines are useful. Chemical processors, I don't need them right now. Oh, apparently I do need them right now. They're just a thing I'm given. Yellow belts, I'm just going to dump them. I know I should do something more sensible with them, get them upgraded, but I don't care. I don't want Crusher 1s. They're useless. I don't know if they even upgrade Crusher 2s. I don't need arc furnaces at the moment. Don't need energy cells. I don't need explosive detonator or a flare stack. I don't need 2 stacks of fluid assemblers. I don't need freight elevator 2s. I don't need a couple of modular building planners or an operator robot. I don't need all vein miners at the moment. Don't need that many pumps. Don't need pump jacks right now. Don't need a screen. Don't need a shipping pad. Right, there we go. Now I have some actual space in my inventory. I can go off and do stuff. So, step 1. Pew. Step 2. Can dump all that stuff I just collected back in the box over here. Because I still don't want it. So that was that, and that, and that, and them, and that, and that. Right. Yeah, I got a bit of that. There were at least 2 things that I dumped and then was had immediately returned to me, which was mildly annoying. And there is a mushroom. Actually, the mushroom doesn't matter. It's not in the way. Shall I just leave it for comedy reasons? We're gonna have a comedy mushroom sticking up through the ground. Then next, la 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 la. Yeah, there we go. That's all working. So we're now making the drills twice as fast, passing around here, making the box twice as fast, and yeah, that should fill up. Well, it's nearly full now, so that's doing pretty well. It's nearly full, even though there's a ship filling up. Actually, that's doing really, really well. These guys also seem to be a bit low. There's a lot of stuff going in here, but none of it's too difficult. Okay, good. So we'll just. What about what's happening here? Okay, those are also a bit slow. All right, let's just double all of these. So I want to go from there. Select area from. Can I select that block, please? Yes, I can. So I want to go from there to there. Shoop. Why are there different numbers of things? I don't know. I don't care. That last one isn't hooked up. Okay. Oh, this is one of the weird offset ones. Right, okay, that makes a certain amount of sense. So I actually want to go from there to... Oh, this is doing funny things to my brain. Wait, what? Right, so this, we have a machine making barrels, I think. Yes, that's making barrels because this one uses barrels. And this makes barrels at 40 a minute. This uses barrels at 8 a minute, so we have 5 machines running on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, the fact that it's not hooked up is a bit disconcerting, but let's do that. Let's do this properly, Laurence. Like that, and that. Right. Okay, so these two should now kick in. Oh, none of these belts are finished either. There. And there. And there. Okay, so because there's so many inserters along here, I've had to put these gaps in to make sure so everything fits, and also slightly offset the machines, which is fine, but makes expanding it a little bit weird. And also, that machine making the barrels will feed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 machines along here, and it makes the barrels out of steel, I think, which is not being fed in anyway. No, it makes them out of iron. Okay, they're iron barrels, not steel barrels. But the iron is being fed all the way through. So I can just copy this whole thing. So I think what I do here is I do just copy the whole thing, and there'll be a big gap here for the other for the barrel making machine, but that's fine. So what I want to do is I do want to come in down here. I want to do a select from there to there. And I can do a copy and place, and then I move the whole thing out like that. And yeah, there's going to be a gap here. That's the gap for the barrel production. That barrel production there, but that's okay. We don't mind there being a gap. If I paste into there, then that's just going to double throughput. Okay, there's some belts needed, but that's fine. There's a shortage of something on that belt. Aha! Now we're making so many aquatic bots that we don't have enough aquatic bot chassis coming through. So that's going to be a thing to very quickly go off and go, oops, and expand. They're being made by one machine. Really? No wonder we're short. Yeah, nautical chassis are made by a single machine that can't remotely keep up. That's a bit pathetic. I don't know why there's only one machine making those, but apparently there is. I'm sort of flying around in circles around it, trying to find a place where I can zap everything at once, but it's fine. I'll just get that much and then put in the foundation separately if I have to. So we take that, copy and place, and I like to have... I don't know, is that overkill? Probably, but I'd rather have too many than too few, so we're going to have that many. And then I'll do it all foundation as well, because you have to. And then we can pull in a massive quantity of all of these ingredients and push all of the resource shortages further back up the tree. Lovely. Now you see we have a bit of a shortage of rubber, but I'm sort of hoping that as we start pulling all this in and we fill the belt up, the amount of rubber that's pouring in over here will fall off a bit and we'll actually have enough. But at the moment, that's kind of daunting. We are just pulling through all of the rubber. Lovely. Machines are nearly all running, so it's doing quite well. How much rubber are we getting through with this recipe? I don't know. How much rubber are we getting through with this recipe? It's a component, isn't it? Nautical chassis. Oh, it only uses one rubber, so it's the same as everything else, just one per thing. It's just the rubber was a bit more of a struggle. I'm surprised the high-tech components, so the high-tech components are struggling. Okay. But the nautical chassis are now caught up. There are enough of them. So I am quite optimistic that now that this buffer is filled up, the internal buffers are going to fill up in all these machines, and then we're going to stop pulling stuff in. You'll notice that all of these machines have basically stopped running now. It's just one machine at the end here is making enough to keep everything happy. And then a couple over there for some reason. I don't know why those two are running. Okay, I'll rephrase that. I don't know why these aren't running. No high-tech machinery parts. Oh, are they all getting schlurped up by the first machines? Yeah, okay. We've now ripped through all of the high-tech machinery parts that are available, so I might need to upgrade that a little bit. Actually, there aren't that many machines making those. This is going to be an easy one. I do feel that a lot of today's video, a lot of today's stream is going to be me going around just randomly copy and pasting stuff because there seems to be a bit of a shortage of that thing. And then going, oh dear, look, that's completely unsurprisingly and unpredictably has caused problems further upstream of the system. No, oh dear, what am I going to do about that? And then going and copy and pasting another large thing like this. So, yeah, there's going to be a bit of that, I think. Oh, these require rubber as well, so the rubber is going to be a serious problem for a little while. But I do note that this is now a full belt along here, so if we're making them any faster than we were before, we are... Yeah. So we have now started actually producing enough for the demand downstream of these things. It's just that now there's a bit too much demand on the old rubber supply. Maybe that's something I should go and check out now. I have read the David Eddings books, but it was a long time ago. I want to say it was when I was a teenager. I remember them being a little bit repetitive, but I think that's because he wrote 2 series twice each. Why is there an empty belt here? What have I broken? Oh, not enough processors again. Yay, joy. So yeah, I wasn't hugely impressed with David Eddings. They were okay, reasonably okay, but I vaguely remember the will and the word bit thing, but I don't remember very much about it. Mostly just that it was a apparently yeah, I wouldn't like to say what I very much about it because I don't really remember. Yeah, I know it's a bit vague. Sorry. I have read the Black Magician series. I think I enjoyed the Priestess of the White by Trudy Canavan a bit more than the Black Magician series. That was very good, especially the ending, which I won't spoil because it was very good. So yeah, I do recommend that, especially if you're already a fan of hers, and I suspect you're going to enjoy it even more, or you're even more likely to enjoy it rather. Okay, so we've got rubber coming from here, and there's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I've expanded rubber already to the point where there's 4 banks of machines making instead of 1. Well, fortunately, we have more oil coming in now, so I guess I could expand it further if I wanted to. This is one of those, do I want to take that on at this point, though? This is going to be an annoying expansion to do, but it is clearly what we're short of at the moment. What is the recipe for oil? Is it just this one takes... Recipe for rubber, I mean. Is it just this one takes in... this takes in crude and steam. Okay. Both of which we probably have... I don't know, how much steam do we have? Yes. So we probably could just expand this and it'd be absolutely fine. And there's room to do it at least... There's room to put in a few more blocks of that. Alright, let's put in a little bit more production of that and see how we go. So, what are all these pipes? Okay, this is the crude being brought in. So how rubber made? So is this multiple machines doing the whatever that's doing? No, this is turning crude into high density. Then we have another crude into impure and waste. And another crude into high density. And then over here, we have... I can't find the screen. Here we take in liquid polymer and high density. Okay. Also liquid polymer and high density. Also liquid polymer and high density. What the hell is going on here? So... we've got liquid... Oh, I see. We've got liquid polymer being brought in from... Ah, that's the problem. We don't have enough liquid polymer being brought in. Right. So, hang on a minute. If this is rubber production... Firstly, what's going on here? This isn't... Oh, that's the waste gas. Fine. Why we're making the high density only might... Did this... Yes, the high density is coming from there and then being pumped into these machines. Fine. The other one is coming along there. We need more of that. But then what's the other set of machines along here? Why do we also have machines doing crude into impure? Oh, this is taking in... Right, okay, I understand. So we're making the high density oilite, but we're making impure, and then we're making the impure into pure high density oilite, and then we're feeding that in over here as one of the ingredients. The other one is the liquid latex or something. Liquid polymer that's being made somewhere else in insufficient quantities, and that's coming from who knows where. Probably these machines at the end. Right, so I need more machines. So I've expanded out one area without expanding the other area, and that's why there's a shortage. It's these guys then that are bringing in crude and producing liquid polymer. We need more of those, and we need to fit them in somewhere. So that was a simple process, wasn't it? Yeah, just bring in the... Yeah, okay. So I think that means I put in more of those over here. We take in the... yeah, this is the pipe that has the... Yeah, okay, that's the waste gas. So that's easy enough to get rid of. I need to find the liquid polymer pipe. Was it this one? No, that's crude. That's waste. That's crude. That's just empty. That must be the waste gas. That's the crude input. That's not connected to anything. Ah, is it on this side? That's low density. Oh, there's something else. Something else entirely. Right. Makes more sense that way. Whoa. Right, okay, here it is, this one. That doesn't go anywhere near the other machines. Oh, okay, that's fine. It just means I need to run another pipe over to the other side. I don't have a problem with that. I just wanted to make sure I knew what was going on first. There is more space up. Yes, that's true. But then I'll put it over here. So I'll expand this out like this. Sorry, I got a bit distracted from our very important talks about fantasy books. Alright, disty columns, which I haven't got because I dumped them all into the chest of shame. So I'll fly over and get that. Misenchanted sword. So, does this sword ask people if they would like to destroy evil? I hope that reference lands for at least a few people. Sword. Nope, no distillation columns in there. Okay, we'll have to go and fancy mass. Yeah, I feel like I don't know if I'm the most creative of people. I tend to be better off with when there's an objective to work towards. I can build something up. I mean, I think there's a certain sort of creativeness in building something like this, but it's definitely a creativeness that's built around having an objective rather than just, even if it's a sandbox game, there is still an objective that I'm working towards. Distillation column. Sure, it's along here somewhere. Distillation column, there we go. Gimme. Don't really need 25 of them, but never mind. Yes, I'm sure future me will be very, very glad I spared that fungus. And not remotely frustrated because it turns out to be in the way and a bit of a shock to me at that point. Okay, let's put you in there and then see how badly I've left linking up, how difficult it's going to be to connect it up. So we want you to make liquid polymer. Right, and so you've got nothing at all there. Great. You've got an output of waste gas there. Okay. You've got an output of liquid polymer there, and you've got an input of blue there. Okay. So I think this is going to be better off if I rotate it to face me. So put it this way round. I think that'll make things a lot easier to hook up. I'll leave a gap for sanity anyway. Because now, when I program it, boop, we find that suddenly the crude oil input is on this side, which means I just need to go from there down to... What are you doing? Okay, that didn't do what I wanted it to do. I was cautiously optimistic, but no. Right, T intersection. That way. There we go. So there's crude oil in. Nothing happens on this side. Nothing happens on this side. This is waste gas out, which is handy because this is also waste gas out. So I guess that means you become a T-junction piece. Like that. And that. And then, oh joy, I've made it too long. Well, let's not make this too complicated. Let's just put in a cut there, and then we can have that with a pump on it. It has to be a low voltage pump because I don't think there's much high voltage around here. So it'll actually be easier to do a low voltage pump like that. Is that in the right place? Yes. Alright, so that's that one done. And then over here, this is the output of the stuff we actually want. And there's a steam pipe here to avoid, but other than that, I think if we just bring it down one, then all will be well. That's not what I wanted. I actually did want another corner. Like that. And pipe coming out to here. And then, yeah, another T. What's going on? Yeah, like that. Boom. And, oh yeah, straights. Okay, so that is one. And now, because we have the magic of copy and paste, I can say I'd like to select area from... Fine, we'll select a piece of sand. There to there to there. Copy and place. Bim, bomb. So 3 seems like a reasonable number, to be honest. I'm sort of fairly happy with that as an expansion goes. Is 4 the right height? I didn't really check. No, 2 would have been the right height. Oh well, never mind. I've just made a pit in the ground, but that's fine. I've just uncovered one of my pipe runs, but that's okay. That's much deeper than it needed to be. Oh well. Back over to this thing. Right, and then, yes, paste. And all the way along here, I need to fix these pipes because they just won't. Boink. And I say all the way along here as if there's like hundreds of them, but no, it's just 2. There and there. You should all now be able to run. Over here, hopefully all linked up. Yep, all of that's linked up nicely to get rid of the waste gases. All of that's not linked up nicely to get to bring out the polymer, but that's okay because it's easy to fix. Then I need to join that to here. So I should run that straight through the middle of all of this to there. And then I can knock out that. Okay, apparently I have to go underneath this, knock out that piece of pipe, and then put in another T-piece like that. And boom, suddenly we have loads of liquid polymer. At least that's the plan. Yeah, it's actually still going up despite the presumably increased consumption over here. Because the pipe does go along here and then goes to all the machines making the rubber. So we should now be making rubber quite a bit faster than before, because I believe that was the limiting factor. We certainly seem to have decent amounts of purple and decent amounts of yellow. If I look on here, yeah, that seems to be working. So I think that's increased rubber production speed, but have to admit, I'm not certain how much I've increased it by. Whether I need to copy and paste this section a few more times over to get a bit more capacity or not. I don't know. Don't like the side input. You mean over? I don't know which side input you mean you don't like, but yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's a bit. One of the things I don't like about this game is that the fluid inputs on all of the machines are fixed. Now that's the same in Factorio, so it has exactly the same problem, and it's often been a slight annoyance there as well. But it would often be nice if you could be a little bit more, if there's a little more open to suggestions, should we say, on the exactly how it, exactly where you put your various different fluids, because they're always in the wrong place, basically. Right, we'll leave that to be taken out, and we'll see. We'll see. I don't feel like that's very much extra rubber compared to what we had before. I think it might have been quite well balanced and the machines were generally working. So I think it's slightly more, but I don't think it's a lot more. I think I need to put in more, which is why I've told the bots to come out and do some demolition over there, and I can expand that out a little bit. Another thing that was a problem was CPUs. Now, is that just Is there an input shortage? I don't think there is. I think it's just... Crikey. These are the machines that are making the CPUs, and this is just the rate that they're running at. Right? It's... All the inputs are coming in absolutely fine. We've got plastic, we've got the wafers, we've got the green goo coming. Green goo seems to be fine. There is a... Yes, full pipe. It's just that... Yes, this is a lot of machines, and no, that is not doesn't mean it's enough. You can see there's a lot of them coming out here, but it's not filling the belt up, and that means we don't have enough. So, yeah. I'm sure they can be beaconed. I'm not convinced. Are you thinking of... they can be either there's productivity beacons and there's speed beacons. Either would probably help, but also... Yeah. I feel like I might be better off just copy and pasting this again, to be honest. So we say, right, let's go from here. Across to here. Out to here. Like that. And then go up. What have I selected? I've selected the... I have selected foundation. Okay, so we'll say all of that and all of that. And I should now be able to go, yes, we'll have that. And then we'll go up and up again. And we will acknowledge that this is getting somewhat silly. But we'll try and paste it and see what happens. Right, we'll have a look at the numbers first. So we need 1900 building. No, we need 2000 building blocks, and we've got 1971 of them. Okay, we need 20. We've got most of the stuff. Let's just put it in and see what we're missing. Missing 2 chemical processors, 30 pieces of building block. And many conveyor 3s. Wow. Okay. Where's there and conveyor slope 3s. Okay, let's go and get some more conveyor 3s and conveyor slope speeds. Yeah, I'm not very good at the cosmetic stuff. I will admit this. Gimme. Which. And conveyor 3, no, slope 3. This is going to be... slope 3 is going to be over here. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I don't tend to think very much about cosmetics. I think that's something I'd quite like to play a multiplayer game for, because then there'd be somebody else do a sort of bit of the design work and thinking about the cosmetics, and we can hopefully produce something a bit prettier between us. So, yeah, that would be a nice addition. Chemical processor... Building blocks. Okay, the building blocks I should just be getting. In fact, I have got. But I still need to find chemical processors and another 140 conveyor slopes. Okay, the 50 I grabbed wasn't... Weird to start, but it's not enough. Chemical processors. They might be around here as well. Casting machine, installation, flare stack. No, transport ship port, solar panels. Chemical processors. Oh, they only come in 16s. No wonder I run out. Right, so we'll take those. And then we need another 140 of the slopes. Then we're up 23. Okay, this is going to be a bit of a process. but that means I am nearly there. I can do a confirm paste, and we will have everything but 89 conveyor slope 3s. Yeah, I do think, yes, cladding the skyscrapers would look quite nice, but I think if I just clad them in solid foundation, or solid concrete, or solid anything, it would look dreadful. And what do we have in here? In cosmetics, or decor rather. Yeah, modular windows, for example. I could completely cover the thing in windows and it looked like a modern office building. Maybe with some doors, a door on each level for me to fly into, something like that, sure. But ideally I'd want somebody who has a bit more of an artistic interest than me to perhaps build a design that I could then copy and paste and just make something a bit like, yeah. Exactly, variety would be much, much better. And I suppose I could make, and then the other thing is though, the other advantage of this sort of system, having them built like this, is I can easily tell what's what. So that one I can tell is, actually that one isn't. This one here is making low density olumite. This one is the CPUs. That one, the smaller one down there, is making the energy cells and so on. So I can tell at a glance what they are, and it's a bit easier to remember than if they are all buildings. But I guess you could potentially find a way of putting massive signs on the side of it. Like you could write CPU in huge blocky text or something like that. There are certainly options. Nearly there. Celsius 30. Halfway there. Well, halfway from the last grab. So now is a third of the way to having enough to finish this off. And I suppose in theory I could go out there and upgrade a load of it to blue ramps, and then I'd have a load of greens available again for the final part of the upgrade. But that seems a bit pointless. I feel like I'm just halving the number required each time I just grab a few more out of it. But then it's like that thing about shooting a tortoise with a bow and arrow. You'll never be able to hit it because every time the arrow moves halfway to it and then moves halfway to it again, halfway to it, and it never gets there. I think that was a Discworld thing taking the piss out of some form of philosophy. Oop, there we go. Got enough now. Right, so that's now finished. We're now making the CPUs a bit faster. I said it's finished. You can go away now. There we go. So we can now make the CPUs. That might have been almost twice as fast. I'm not sure how much bigger I made it. I need to go over there and check that the inputs are keeping up. I'm probably going to find out that I don't have enough alumic acid now or something ridiculous like that. There's another thing over here producing pistons. That's kind of funny. Given that I was messing around with trying to make those a bit faster earlier. So these are presumably required for one of the advanced... Oh, they're required for Bluebell, sorry. Oh, that sounds familiar. Okay, well, I was going to say I don't care. It's not true. I absolutely do care because I would like my Bluebells to be made quite a bit faster than they are. But I don't care enough to go in and fix it. So, over here, this should now all be built and working. Oh, there's probably some sort of linking of pipes that hasn't worked. There's linking of absolutely everything that hasn't worked. So, what's going on here? We have... cables. Okay, so we can link that to there. There we go. That's the green passed through there. Then we can link that to there. And that one is fine. Okay, good. That's output. Over here we have inputs going all the way up and a little bit off into the sky, but never mind. Why are you sad? Oh, you're just slowly filling up with alumic acid. Okay, fine. So these should kick in any moment now. Any moment now. Any moment now. Because I've fixed the pumping the alumic acid in. We saw the machines filling up, in fact. So they should kick in any minute now. I don't know how many they need to make one CPU. How much do you need to make one CPU? Components. CPU, 80 litres. Ha ha ha. 67 and 68 is in 970. Okay, is good. Oh, that row's kicked in. That's a bit random. And that row's kicked in. It's just this one that we're waiting for now. So the system does seem to be working. It's just taken... I guess maybe pumps have a higher priority than machines for taking stuff out of a pipe. So we had to wait for it to all be pumped up and fill up the pipes up here before we could actually fill up the pipe down here. But anyway, there we go. They're all now flaring. So that tells me they're all working. This is a rather precarious looking build, but actually it's got its 4 legs. I think it's probably going to be okay as long as we don't have any strong winds. And we can now come down here and go, there's nothing down here. Why does it appear to be worse? What's going on? And it shouldn't be worse. It really, really shouldn't be worse. Now, I grant you that it's going to take a long time for the CPUs that are made up here to find their way all the way down the belts. All the way down the belt tower. I'm getting dizzy just looking at it. Yeah, I guess in the wind it'd be fine. It might be fine because the gaps would let a lot of the wind through. So it's a good thing I didn't cover it in panes of glass then. Or just put a massive bank of foundation along the side of the thing. So we should now be making more, but I think it's going to be a while until it flows through enough until we can see what's going on. So let's go and have a look at the rubber instead, because that's another thing that I've been messing with. Where's rubber? There's rubber. Yeah, still doesn't look like that much more, does it? We've only got one of these machines over here running. So, yeah, I think it's going to be time to make more of this. Get an additional couple of rows of this system built up and put in. So we want to go from, this is an awkward one because there's no really good place to copy from because it's all over the place. Right, I guess here. If I do a copy from here, what's the select an area? I think I'm just going to have to select here and then say and go down one as well. So, no, not from there. Stop it. Select an area. Go from there to, yes, here. Yes, out to there, that's right. Up to there. And down to there. I said down to there. There we go. Right, that's got the foundation in as well. I think I can probably just do a straight copy across. Is this pipe going to clash with the pipe on the other side? It is one below the input. So, yes it is. Alright, let's put an extra space in for that then. And then I'll do a copy of that. And I'll paste it to there and to there. Gonna have some extra pipes running through here, but never mind. A couple of things have been blocked. Is that a problem? No idea whether things have been blocked that have been blocked, but I'm missing some stuff as well. So it's a bit of a problem. Yeah, Zeno's paradox, that's the one. Yes, clean room is inside the assemblers. Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect excuse, and I approve of it. Right, so this comes across from there to there. Get that. This pipe goes from there to presumably to. Oh, I have no idea what that pipe does. Oh, that's the extra pipe that isn't needed because it'll be joined in there. No, this game needs a Control Z. That isn't just going in and picking the thing out manually. Right, yeah, we don't actually need this pipe here. Or here. We do need it there though, so that's fine. We'll leave that in place. The rest, there's a pipe down here that's not plugged into anything. Okay, that just needs to go there. That's the steam. And presumably also needs to be linked in on the other side as well, like this. There we go. Otherwise, we've got... Okay, these again need to be replaced, turned into T's. That's fine. So that, and what is going on here? I have no idea. Oh, that's meant to be a corner. Like that, I suppose. That doesn't feel right. No, I think that's just... Oh. Oh, there's a pipe coming along here that I didn't copy. Right, okay, that makes more sense. Wait. Hey. So, what it... This pipe is bringing... Okay, this is bringing crude in. Fine. But then it can't get through. But then there's this one in the way. How did that get allowed? Given that I've been copying and pasting this across. Oh, I see. Previously it's just gone up and over. Alright, so I guess what I'll do... It's kind of dirty, but I can make this come along here like that. And then it'll become too long, but that's fine. We can put pumps in. And then this comes along here in the same way and goes up and over like that. And goes... Where does this go in? I'm confused. I'm very confused. And that one's okay. It goes in there. Right. Let's put in another pump here. No, that's not a pump. That's a pump. Ugh. There we go. So it goes on the first one and pumps into... Right, okay, so that goes over and that needs to go onto that... Right, okay. So we go... Yeah, we go over that. I don't know why that's like that. That shouldn't be like that. That should be a straight through. Probably from something else that was copied weirdly. I don't know. But then in here, we can then put in a T that goes downwards like that. And then a corner piece like that one there. And that's my... That's that going in there. Is this now remotely functional? How are we doing for inputs? So we've not got any steam going in. Okay, I thought I'd fix that one up, but no, we'll check on that in a moment. And we've got the crude coming in. So this pipe down here is the steam. So why are you not going into the machine? You are going into the machine there. Why is then this not working? Because there's no steam left in here because we're trying to pull too much of it out and the boiler can't keep up. Okay, fine. Where is the boiler? You're the boiler, aren't you? Yeah, so it's just that the rate we're trying to use it at is it can't keep up, which is fair. Output 60 a second of steam, which would be enough to run. Did I say 60 a second? And this is 600 a minute. So that's 10 times 10. So 10. He's using up 10 seconds, or so a sixth of it. So we should be able to run 6 of these machines, and presumably we've now got more than 6. So that's why it's struggling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, but these are all doubled, aren't they? So 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6. So yeah, so I need a second boiler basically. Okay. Ugh. What's this doing? You're turning barrels and liquid fuel into portable fuel. You're burning portable fuel. I see. And passing the barrels back through again. Right. What are these doing? Why are these here? Oh, these are the ones these are the ones I put in earlier this evening to make the liquid polymer that turn out to be right in the way of me putting in another another boiler in here. That's helpful. Right, I might knock one of these out and replace it with a boiler and then put it back in over here. How do I make a boiler? Can I make a boiler in my pockets? Why is boiler very, very loud? Nearly, actually. If I go and get some steel beams, then I can. And there's probably some steel beams quite close by for the science area. Yep, there's some. Boil me a maker. Or possibly the other way around. Right. Back over here again. Knock out this machine. Biff. Put in another one of these. But like the other way around. Oh, remove this pipe as well. But like the other way around, as I said, so then the water feed hooks up correctly. What? And then we have a belt goes along here. What? No. Belt goes along here. What are you going over? Are you going over a pipe? Fine. Go over the pipe, that's alright. Belt comes along here, also goes over the pipe, that's fine too. Then, okay, we've got the steam coming out here this time. That's annoying. Of course we have, because I turned the machine round. Would it be easier to get the water in on the other side? Probably. Alright, let's flip this boiler back round again. This is what I was saying about the inputs never being in the quite where you want them to be. Inputs and outputs never being quite where you want them to be. So, although actually that said, that works. You can put input water can go in there. So actually it's not a problem. Then over here I need to put in an input of the fuel and an output of the empty barrels when the fuel's been expended. Look at that. And then that pipe should be a cross pipe, a very, very angry pipe. That goes like that. And then we have one of those in there. Right, so that should double my steam production. If it doesn't, I don't know why not. Yeah, it seems to be working. So hopefully that means, yes, there we go. We've got some more machines kicked in over here. That's very promising. I'd hope to see a few more than that kick in. Ideally, I'd like to see these guys start working. Yes, there we go. So that is some additional rubber. Now, it's not going to go anywhere because for some reason we don't seem to have got any of the belts put down. And that's very weird because surely I wasn't sure of the belts when I built this. I was short of casting machines, which is fine. We can come back and make some more of those later, I guess. But the belt, really? I mean, come on. Let's have some belts in there. The casting machines over here are slightly more problematic. Alright, so we now look over here. Yes, there's a flurry of them because we had a burst of emptying some buffers going on. But now, this is the slightly higher rate of rubber that we have. So, I don't know. It's slightly better, that's all I've got to say. I am going to find some more casting machines to finish that bit off because it's a shame, when I've got all this built up, it'd be a shame not to have that part in as well. Whatever movie it is, it's going to be very, very AI heavy because they're casting machines. Ooh. I do feel like there's always high demand for casting machines, so I don't feel too bad about carrying lots of them around with me. Okay, how's that looking? We've got the casting machines in over here. They are starting to run. They've still not got belts. I must have missed off copying that part of the thing. But it's okay. They're easy enough to put in manually. Boop. And there we go. More rubber. Rubbery. How's this holding up? Liquid polymer is... holding pretty steady. Oh yeah, I'd say that's... I feel like, yeah, that's going gradually upwards, which is fine. That's good. There's more capacity for using that for liquid polymer. Everything else should be naturally balanced. Got enough steam now. Could probably expand it further, but this feels like quite a good place to stop while it's actually working. There's definitely a new update due out. I thought it was at the end of the month. However, I think I think I'm basically done with the game now, so I think I'll probably not take it on, at least in the short term. Okay, so we've got a stream of rubber coming along the belt here. It is still insufficient. We're still not making the... Although we do have a full belt of these things. In fact, we still have a full belt of these things coming out. But we are also still making them in the second and third machines. So we don't have... we haven't brought through enough rubber and enough of the advanced components yet to back it up all the way along. So... yeah. It's sort of getting there, but it's I guess actually if this is where basically all of the rubber is going and we're making enough of these things, then it's kind of okay. Oh my god, we've run out of electronic components again. That one I can't see me actually going in and fixing. That's just sanity will not allow for it. So, oh, and this is running low as well. Yeah, okay, I feel like I've now got to the point where doing further upgrades to the factory is going to be a sufficiently big job that it's rather daunting. Like anything, if I want to get more of these coming out, for example, I'm going to need to start producing more of these fuel cell things, and that's already an enormous build and is taking in a huge amount of copper. And to get more copper would require massive builds over in the copper area. And I think at this stage of the game, that's not something I'm particularly interested in doing. So at this point, let's take a look at the space station and see how things are going up there, and sort of think about winding up a little bit. And I'll land up here so I can look down on my factory while I do so. Right, so if we take a look at the sales charts, because I've been messing around for a little while now, so you can see some of these things, numbers have gone up a little bit, but they've stayed held reasonably steady. Oh, operator bots have really fallen off. I feel bad about that, but yeah. Oh, and minor robots have gone to 0. Things are not really going quite as well as I hoped. What's going to happen to minor robots? Okay, that one is bad enough that I'm going to go and see why production has dropped to 0. Is this minor robots? I'm not sure. Yes. I mean, it's right. Nothing is happening here. We've got green circuits going into the output. The heck? Well, I mean, that explains why it's not working. So, does something around here take green circuits in, and I've accidentally linked the input and the output because there was a... Yes, this takes green circuits in order to make them. So... Huh? Have I been... Yeah, I've been double using this belt. Which is now... So I must have... Maybe I accidentally put a piece of belt in there, or... I don't know how I've screwed this up, because I don't remember messing with this area. But this belt should not have green circuits on it. So there we go, fixed it. But that was a weird problem to have. Okay, this is a major robot to go with the minor drones that we have then, I suppose. Yeah, but I don't remember changing that belt. Obviously I did, but I don't remember changing it. But yeah, clearly I somehow did. So, yeah, oops. Yeah, that's obviously been knocked out, but it's working again now. I'm sort of a little bit worried to go and... yeah. A little bit worried to go back and look in here again. Operator robots, personal assistant robots are both struggling. Are those not the ones that I made faster? Have I broken that? Maybe it's spiked and is now struggling? These look like operator robots to me. Yeah, these are operator robots. I mean, they're working. But... oh, there's an input shortage here of robot parts. That's the problem. That's why all the robots are struggling. And that's going to be electronic components or something like that. And. So plastic is fine. It's thermalite. Oh, for goodness sake. Okay, so this is kind of what this is going to turn into, I think. I either acknowledge that I either draw a line here, or I spend a long time just going around and fixing these individual little problems. I don't know why thermalite has suddenly become a problem. Maybe it's because I'm pulling a lot more of it out into something else further down or further up, and that's meaning there's not enough to go into that stage anymore. There's probably something I've increased the throughput for or something like that, and now there just isn't enough thermalite being squashed. There is potential to go down underground, put in more lava smelters to make the thermalite sheets. As it is, I mean, I thought I had capacity for about a blue belt's worth of it, or something fairly close, but it's, again, I don't have the enthusiasm to go in and upgrade this again, because just to fix that sort of that minor point there. So, it's yes and no. I mean, it's not the thank you, regular. It's not the problem with the bus design. Well, it sort of is. But any system, if I had a train station, or if I had lots and lots and lots of belts leaving off that off the top of the elevator over there, going off to a number of different places where I was making the robots. If I started using more thermalite than I was producing, it would cause problems, no matter what sort of distribution system I was using. It might make it more obvious where the problem was, and I could probably set priorities a bit more easily. Yeah, so there are the problem with a bus system isn't that. I would say the problem with the bus system is when you start to have throughput problems. Like earlier, when I was trying to get I was using more than one blue belt's worth of iron in the factory, and so I ended up having to put in an additional belt down to halfway down the bus. That's I would say is the problem with a bus-based system, and that if you use it all up at one end, then you starve the other end. But then one of those ends is going to get starved anyway, and the fix is to have more supply. So I'd say I would dispute that this is a problem with a bus. I would say this is just the problem with expanding production. That means you end up using more resource, and therefore you end up running out of resource as well. And that's a little bit frustrating. Yes, but also no. Well, yes, but only if you then go off and build new mines and new everything. So yeah, sure. If I went out and I built and I said, okay, well here is a copper vein, and here is a coal vein, and I'll find nearby stone vein or something, and then yes, I'll build one type of robot of those veins, and then for my next type of robot, I'll go off and find some more veins over here. Okay, we've got tellurium ones. We can make the tellurite. We've got stone. We've got copper, and maybe we can find an iron one nearby, and so that's iron. Find a copper one, there we go, it's that one. Pull all of those together, and yes, we can make another type of robot over here, and so on. Yes, then at that point, yes, if you start from absolute scratch for every single robot or every single extra thing you build, then you're quite right, you will always have perfect balance because you'll always have built it like that. But even with this, if I'd built off, you're still going to find somewhere where you have a something that is supplying multiple things. So in this case, I've got all of my copper being produced over here, for example. So I'm bringing that in up a number of belts and feeding it into the bus system over here. Yeah, okay. So, but if I hadn't done a bus system here, if I had separate modules for making all of the robots and had a separate belt going to each one, that would have been fine until I then didn't have enough belts of copper coming out of here, or didn't have enough copper coming out of here on the belts to keep everything happy. So you're still going to run into the same sort of problem. You could say yes. You could say yes. I'd like to start making all of my electronic components for this particular build on site and just bring in. You could go down to the point of bringing in just iron and copper and oil and stone and whatever. You could bring all those almost raw resources in and start and build everything on site. But it's a lot harder to do that. It's a lot. You spend a lot more time building and a lot more wasted effort than if you just have a massive area making all of your robot parts or all of your circuits or all of your electronic components and stuff like that. And the other thing is that frequently you'll find that in most factory games, a processed thing will be denser than an unprocessed thing. So here we're bringing in. Is this a good example, or am I going to be coming up with a bad example here? So making an electronic component requires 1 copper and 2 wire coils, which means another copper. So each electronic component requires 2 pieces of copper. So if you make your electronic components somewhere else, you only have to ship half as many items over as you would otherwise. I imagine similarly with the machinery. No, okay, machinery parts are 1-to-1. That's a bad example. Advanced parts though are 2 machinery parts and 1 steel, so that's 2 iron and 1 steel. So if you only feed those along, then you only have to feed 1 thing instead of 3 things, and you only have to feed 1 type of thing instead of 2 types of other thing. So you're off. I reckon you're better off having individual factories making a lot of the components. So another similar thing is I'm making the green circuits over here in massive quantities, then shipping those over on a belt back up into the main factory. It does mean I have to ship plastic over there, which fine. But there, and then there's probably other things like that. Like there's somewhere where we're making the robot components. But then that was the one we just looked at and saw that it was running out of thermalite. But yeah, you could make your robot components on site for every single one of your big robot builds. But you'd be just repeating the effort of feeding in all the same resources over and over again, when it'd be much easier just to have them all be built in one place and start shipping them out. I did in fact start like that, doing decentralized production of some of my early robot types over here. Yeah, you can see here I'm making I'm bringing in iron to make the mechanical components, and then bringing in steel to make the advanced mechanical components, and then feeding those all the way over here to make into the robots. So in this area, I started off doing that because it seemed like a good idea at the time, and I think I might have done it again a little bit here. Yeah, we have electronic components. Oh, electronic components also being fed over there to make those robots. And then I got to here, did the same thing again, and then decided this is ridiculous and started feeding out the electronic components onto a belt here. Yeah, so I started off doing just what you're suggesting, and then I decided, no, that's a really bad idea. Let's not do it like that. It's so much easier just to have one massive facility like this that's making all of my electronic components and then feeding them out along the belt. Now, the risk of this is if you get to the point where you can't fit enough electronic components for your entire factory onto a single belt, then you have decisions to make. Do you run an additional belt? Do you put in another one of these factories down there, making even more of them? And then you go, how on earth do I get enough copper in for this, and so on. So there are complications to it. Sure, it's not a trivial decision, and that this is then just going to work perfectly forever. But I would say doing it like this is better than trying to make the individual components for everything, all the way, for every single thing, because it means your builds can be a lot smaller, a lot more compact, and it means then going in and building up a new robot type is a lot quicker and easier, even if you then maybe have to go back and tweak one of the supplies of things. Oh look, I've got enough circuit boards now. That's caught up. Awesome. Rubber hasn't, but the circuit boards have, so you know, that's a good start. Yes, it's always opportunity costs in these sort of games. That's the thing that sort of matters most, is how are you actually making, how do you want to spend your time? And the other thing is, it's a game, so part of it is how do you want to, what do you enjoy doing? How do you enjoy playing the game? This copper shortage is bothering me quite a bit. Not just because there is a insufficiency of copper, but or not just because there isn't enough copper there, but because I'm making so much copper that for there to actually be a shortage of it is slightly horrifying. I don't know where it's all going either. Okay, there's quite a lot of it. There's a full belt here, and then a lot of it's disappearing to be go in there and be made into a screen box or something. Okay, so my first thought is why is this running stutteringly when down here it's running flat out? My second thought is let's just upgrade all of this to blue and see what happens. So that's that one, and that one, and that one, that one. That goes back to, where does this go back to? Is this blue all the way to, okay, it's blue, yeah, I think that's blue all the way to back to where it comes out of the balancing chest, so that's good. So I can now follow this. We've got more being pushed in here now, so we could potentially have more coming out here. This is now going to be a full green belt, but we'll upgrade it to a blue belt anyway, because why not? No, don't do that. Do that. And I might as well just keep going. I don't see any reason not to. And where was it? Where was it that all of that was going and was causing the problems? It was way down here because we were making the rocket fuel. No, not the fuel. The fuel cells, whatever they're called. So down here. So do that one, and just, you know, for funsies, let's upgrade the whole thing all the way to blue because apparently it was a problem. Now we can chuck in a huge amount more copper there. I don't know if this is actually running fast enough, but yeah, the machines all seem to be working. So now we should have whatever we were speccing this design for coming out here in the form of the fuel barrels. The thermalite is still going to be the bigger problem, I suspect, so I'm not going to get too excited about having sorted that one out. But it's a step in the right direction. And then we can go again. So how are we doing on our robots? We can say, you know, we've got some more than 100 of them, most of them. The science assistant drones still struggling a little bit. Operated bots, mining drones. Personal assistant robots are really having a bad day, and operator robots. But that'll be down to the robot parts, as we see. We've just got a pathetic shortage of at the moment. Yeah, and it's getting on for 11 o'clock, which is about the sort of time I usually finish up. So I think this is going to be a point where it's a slightly unsatisfying end because I haven't got everything running absolutely flat out. Maybe I'll do a little bit of tweaking between streams and get this boosted up to running at, sort out the thermalite or something, and then make a video about it. Yeah, I don't want the game to feel like work. That's definitely true. Even if I am a professional streamer, it doesn't mean I want it to feel like I'm working. Even if I technically am. Yeah, so it seems to me that the problem at the moment is there's two things that I'm aware of there being shortages of. One is the thermalite for making the robot parts, and the other is the rubber for making aquatic frame things, and possibly a few other things. Although that doesn't seem to be too much of a problem. It doesn't seem to be upsetting anything else all that much, is what I mean. And we have enough of the aquatic chassis. So, actually, to be honest, I'm quite surprised that there's still a shortage of rubber. In fact, there isn't so much of a shortage of rubber now. There is only one machine over here that's still trying to make aquatic chassis. And it's filled its output buffer up to 11 out of the 200. Okay, so there's one machine making them. And this is a belt that's moving very, very slowly now. There is still a bit of hunger over on this side. We've got... In fact, there's a lot of hunger over on this side. But we are starting to fill this belt up a little bit. We've got a whole 12 in this machine. That's not filling up at all. But, oh, actually now, yeah, they're backlogged all the way up to here, which means essentially all of the rubber we're making can be going into making the, well, more of the rubber we're making can be going into making the advanced electronicsy things. So, it's going okay. But yeah, I think that the rubber and the thermalite seem to be the two problems at the moment. The rubber I'm not too worried about. The thermalite is definitely causing problems. Maybe I'll tweak that. I don't know whether it's really worth it. Maybe I'll tweak that between streams, and then we'll come back and we'll do another stream on this in a month or so when the nuclear reactors have come out, and maybe have a bit of a look at the trains as well, because they are a little bit exciting. But I think I'm going to call this largely done at this point. So thank you everyone who's been watching. I hope you've enjoyed the Foundry stream. I certainly have. It's a really good game. I would say I've said it a number of times before, but I would still say this is my current second favourite Factory game after Factorio, of course. I've enjoyed it a lot more than Satisfactory. I've enjoyed it more than I enjoyed Dyson Sphere Program. And those are the other ones I've played. The sort of the Minecrafty world works really, really well for this. You can excavate stuff out. You can build your tunnels. You get that extra third dimension to play with. I've really enjoyed it. It's been really good, and I'm definitely looking forward to playing it again when it comes out of early access and has more features and more stuff to play with. So yes, I would. If you're on the fence about whether to play it or not, I would definitely strongly recommend it. It's been great. I think you'll probably, if you like Factorio, you'll definitely. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. It's the same, very much the same sort of game. Maybe give it maybe wait a month or so until the trains come out, just because that's going to make it so much better. Because trains make everything better. But yeah, still, it's even as it is, it's been a lot of fun, as you can tell by the fact I've been playing it for what, this is stream 37, I think. And the streams are about 4 or 5 hours each, so yeah, there's been a good amount of playtime in here, and it's been a lot of fun. Next week, yes, I shall. I think I've been, as I was saying earlier, playing something completely different. I think next week I'll probably take a look at playing Foliax as a standalone planet mod in Factorio, because the way we did it in Planetary Pioneers didn't really do it justice. We went in with a lot of extra tech that we weren't really supposed to have. That allowed us to sidestep a number of the early stages, and then we were also a little bit cautious with some of the later stuff because we didn't want to spoil stuff that we hadn't really got to in Planetary Pioneers. So the thing was, Foliax is a bit of a sort of a full conversion. It's almost an alternative to Space Age, condensing it down onto one planet and then doing things in a completely different way, all through growing things on trees rather than mining or recycling junk or pulling out lava or whatever. So it looks like a lot of fun. But as it was then, it didn't really fit in with the Planetary Pioneers, with the sort of the many planets playstyle that we were looking for. Since then, the author has done some major changes to it, and he's made it much more to fit in with the Planetary Pioneers style. However, I can still get hold of the old version, or rather, I can get hold of the alternative versions he's produced as a separate mod now and give that a shot. So I think that should be good fun. There will be videos coming out Thursday, Friday this week, so that's tomorrow and day after, for catching up on the Planetary Pioneers shenaniganery we've been up to. We'll be back streaming some more of that as well on Monday. And yeah, there'll be more streams to come, and I don't know how long Foliax is going to take me, but hopefully it'll be a sort of a 2 or 3 weeks, maybe, something like that. I might not play all the way through it. I might just get through the sort of the initial stages until it gets back onto track of what we'd already done. But we'll see how it goes and how it feels. And after that, yes, there's some other stuff that I want to play, and we'll see. We'll see when that happens. So yes, I shall be back on Monday. So yes, I'll see you then, Board Easy, and good night, regular. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss out on the future stuff that goes on. I don't think there's really anything else to say about Foundry. It's been great fun. I've got to the point where I'm building all of the robots, and we've got almost enough almost enough stuff flowing through the factory to allow me to build them all at a decent rate. It's nearly there. There's going to be some more features coming soon, so we'll probably come back and take a look at it when they do appear. But until then, I think that's the game. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on Monday for the Planetary Pioneer stream. If you're watching on Twitch, please stick around. I'll see if I can find somebody else playing Foundry we can go off and raid them. But otherwise, see you next time. Thank you very much for watching. And right, end screen. Right, let's go and find somebody to raid. So Twitch raid Foundry. Foundry doesn't have us intent to have as many people playing. No, there's nobody playing it, which is a bit of a shame because it'd be. I feel it'd be nice to. It's a fantastic game. There should be more people playing it. I guess we'll drop in on a Factorio player instead because that's close enough. It's a similar sort of game. Kind of. Right, so raid will be starting in 7, 6, 5. Thank you very much everyone for watching. I'll see you next time. Good night.